Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hara Arena for tonight's Federal Hockey League Tilt. It will feature the Dayton Demonz, who come in 25-10-3 against the Danburry Whalers, who are a grand total of 23-12-4. My name's Lee W. Mowen. I'm the play-by-play announcer of your Dayton Demonz. And for the sixth time this season, these two teams will battle here between each other, the third time that we'll see the Whalers here in Dayton, Ohio. The season record is Danburry with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 shootout loss, but the Demons have won 2 straight in Connecticut against the Whalers. Can Dayton keep the ball rolling and defeat Danburry for a 3rd straight time, or will the Whalers get back on track? That's for you to watch here on Dayton Access Television. At home. My name's Lee W. Mowen, and we hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast thus far. The play-by-play coming up next as the Demons 25-10-3 overall, Danburry 23-12-4. As we're going to have a barn-burning great game for you here from Dayton, Ohio's Hara Arena. Your starting 6 one more time for Danburry. Mike Brown is in between the pipes. Kristaps Neminas and Zach Kuda in the back. And the forwards up front, Brett Liscombe, the captain of the Whalers, joined with Ian DeLong and Mike Zanella. Neminas, Kuda, your defenders. Liscombe, DeLong, Zanella, your forwards. Mike Brown, your goalie. For the Demons, it's Matt Kinsella in the pipes. Brian Marks, Peter Satala in the back. And up front, Ahmed Mahfouz, Jared Hicks, and Seth Ronsberg. The Demons will be heading from the right to the left to start our first period, and Danburry from left to right. Danburry in the Kelly greens and Demons in the home whites with black letters and numbers, red trim. Jared Hicks skates towards the center dot. His opponent will be Ian DeLong. DeLong brings in 20 goals, 22 assists on the season for Danburry. Jared Hicks, 17 goals, 34 assists, 51 points. The two gentlemen lean in as Paul Jean yet to drop the puck. He's your referee. The Demons have won the faceoff. We are underway. The Dayton Demons versus the Danburry Whalers. Up front, here's Moff, who's looking for a quick score. He's in the far faceoff circle. He looks for Jared Hicks. Jared Hicks tumbled in the slot, and he knocks the goal loose of its bearings. And the linesman will fix this up. We'll have a face-off. Looks like it will be in front of Mike Brown and to the right. 19:48 to go in our first period. First time that we've seen hockey at Hara Arena for a while. I believe the last home game was January 16th. It doesn't seem that long, but it feels like it's centuries long, as we'll have the face-off to the left of Mike Brown instead. No one with any shots on goal. DeLong looking to lean in against Ronsberg, and the Whalers have won the face-off. Loose puck, and the captain, Liscombe. Brett Liscombe feeds it up. Here is Zanella. His puck rims a route, and Brian Marks, he will now control it. Marks now sweeps it. 30 seconds into our game. He'll leave it. He'll fake it for Jared Hicks. Now pass it that way. Hicks is on the far side of the neutral zone. He will jam up a Whaler in the far boards. Mahfouz hits it off a Whaler face. Neminas taking the worst of that. He's heading towards the bench as Liscombe looking to escort it out of the corners, just out of the reach of Jared Hicks, and the Whalers look to go into the neutral zone. Shoveled back by number 32 of Danburry. That's Ian Riopel, former Berkshire Battalion. Also former Watertown Wolf briefly. Definitely a fan favorite, as the folks mentioned on the boards. 1 minute 3 gone, and Matt Kinsella knocks the puck away. Dan Schnitschny now sets it up as Lester Brown will chase for it, as Danbury's Stan Vlasov, who is returning from last year's team, he'll feed it up front now in the reach of Riopel. Riopel playing up front. Here's Ryan Patch. Patch now in the near corner of Danbury's attacking zone. He turns the puck over. Here comes Lester Brown out of the Netherlands. Lester Brown now, Michael Hansen's shot at the heart of Mike Brown, and the Danbury goalie comes up with a save. That is your first save, as one of the linesmen will tumble on the ice. Paul Jean says, hey, that's a wipeout. But that first shot on goal by the Demons is brought to you by Doors Galore, where we welcome you home, the official sponsor of Bones, the Demons mascot, and our first shot on goal of the periods. 18:28 to go in the first period, no score. Shots on goal, 1 Dayton, none for Danburry yet. DeLong versus Mark Rivera, and the Whalers come up with a puck. That's Scott Morangel back from France. That shot goes wide right from Rivera, settled down by Lester Brown. Lester Brown, far corner. Mike Brown sweeps the puck away, almost in the grasp of Mark Rivera against two Whalers. Rivera looking to box out. Hansen trying to feed Lester Brown. That puck bounces behind Mike Brown, and the Whalers defense will take it from here. That's in the control of Brett Liscomb, and Liscomb unable to settle the puck down long enough as Rivera fed a pass between the skates 2 minutes in. Rivera past the red line, gets it around the far bend, and Mike Brown stops it dead by the lobby doors, and here comes Danbury with it. Stan Vlasov, he looks around towards his right, now skates towards his left. Up front now for Mike Zanella. Zanella loses the puck, and Brian Marks feeds it up. Here's Mahfouz on a 1-on-2. Back behind him, Ronsberg's shot, saved by Mike Brown, and he holds on to it as he shovels it off towards his left. Incoming was Scott Morangel. And we'll have a face-off in front of Mike Brown. 3 shots on goal for the Demons. No score. 17:37 to go in the first period. The 6th meeting between these two squads from Dayton, Ohio and Danbury, Connecticut. Demons and the Whalers. Danbury leads the season series 3-1-1 as Ryan Patch knocked out of the face-off circle. Ian Riopel comes in. Jared Hicks has won it. And at the near point is Brian Marks. Looks to swing it for Mahfouz, who was jammed up by Scott Morangel of the Whalers. Here's Hicks now. Mahfouz behind the back. Ryan Patch will intercept the pass. It goes through the stick of Marks, and on the race for is Ian Riopel, but the Demons will get it back in the neutral zone. Ronsberg behind him, now Hicks near side. Hicks takes it past the red line, snipes it behind the back of Kuda. That is Zach Kuda. Now playing for the Danbury Whalers in just his second game, wearing 33. Ronsberg's shot clips off Mike Brown, goes over the Danbury goalie as Ronsberg, he is stripped of the puck just out of the reach of a Demon. Morangel sliding with Hicks, and it's picked back up in the neutral zone. So far, good pressure by the Demons. 3 shots on goal thus far as the Whalers can't get to it in the neutral zone in time. Liscomb with a slap on Len Pelchet's arm. Len Pelchet back out there on the ice. He'll skate towards the bench as the Demons will swap fresh. Here's Ian DeLong, dumps it past the blue line. Peter Satala's coming up with it. Satala took a poke off a Danbury stick, and now fed up for Dan Morin. Now for Pelchet, the defender's up front on a 3-on-2. Morin trying to sell things down. He can't get to the puck in time, does get it back to Lester Brown, former Berkshire Battalion member. Now between the points, Pelchet shot off an ankle of a Whaler. I believe Zach Kuda took the worst of that. Made a nice popping sound up here that we could hear. Pelchet far point. Now up Morin. Morin far corner. Morin tangled up with 2 Whalers. The puck comes loose in the far face-off circle, and Zanella recovers it for the Whalers, but Peter Satala gets the puck stick between his skates, and Satala now rolls it forward. Morin and Pelchet back to the bench. Satala now looking towards the slot. Lester Brown whiff, and it bounces off the post. Mike Brown out of his crease, and the goalpost has come loose as right now Mark Rivera trying to argue something to the referee. That'll stop the clock at 15:45 to go in the first period. No score. Shots on goal favor Dayton 3-0. Mike Brown gets a quick drink of water and lets the linesman repair the net. He slides it back in the slot. Mahfouz and Ronsberg talking to Paul Jean, asking about delay of game penalty. Looks like that won't happen. It'll still be 5-on-5. 3 shots on goal for the Demons. So far, the Whalers just a couple seconds in their attacking zone thus far. They've had a good look at Matt Kinsella, but no shots on goal to prove it thus far. Hicks versus Patch. Hicks leans in, Patch kicks it towards him and frees it behind him, and the Whalers win this face-off. Now rolling into the neutral zone. It is backed up by number 10 of the Demons, that is Alex Norman. Shot off of Mike Brown from Ahmed Mahfouz, knocked down by Hicks. Shot by Norman off the right side of Mike Brown, and it's set up in the slot. Hicks goes wide left. Ronsberg will receive the puck. Behind him, Mahfouz. Hicks in the door. Mike Brown comes up big. Demons get 3 shots on goal in that frame, but Ryan Patch looking for the first one. There it is. That will bounce off Matt Kinsella. As the shots on goal favor Dayton by 5, 6-1. With 15:11 to go in the first period, there is no score. Whalers playing with 12 total players, 10 of those skaters, and the Demons 15, 13 of those aren't goalies. Coach Collins behind the bench tonight for the Demons, and it is David Lunn for the Danbury Whalers. Demons win this face-off, take it to the neutral zone. Tala spins around, gets it around the near corner, slows it down. Morangel caught up by Mahfouz, and the puck will find a Kelly Green jersey. That is Vlasov. Whalers now enter the neutral zone. Here's DeLong. DeLong chips it towards the near corner. It bounces towards Matt Kinsella's cage. Marks can't get a good, clean piece of it, but Kinsella does and looks for his forwardman, Jared Hicks, up front. Knocked down off the hand of Scott Morangel as Peter Satala frees it away from him, and the Whalers will have to exchange it behind the line of Mike Brown. Morangel just coming off a loan from France. And actually, never mind that shot on goal by the Whalers. It is now off on the shot counter. Loose puck. Here's Hicks. Off the side of the net, Mahfouz versus Liscombe. And it's sailed down. Ronsberg tries to angle it towards Mike Brown. Cut off by DeLong. He pops it high in the air, almost to the rafters, as Ronsberg picks it up in the center circle. Ronsberg takes it himself, shoots it wide to the left and high. Ronsberg will skate around. He's got the puck again. Ronsberg now near face-off circle. Ronsberg turns around, takes it all the way out of the neutral zone. Now feeds it for Mahfouz, who chips it to Hicks. Hicks now surrounded by 3 green jerseys, chips this one high and left. Mahfouz make that Marks unable to get to the puck. He's checked into the boards by Riopel, and here's Patch on a 2-on-2. Patch goes high, and that will bounce high shelf off the glass. Stays in play as Dan Pszczniczny now. He kicks it now for Marks. Far corner past Jared Hicks, and Hicks U-turns around. Patch shot off of Kinsella, loose puck. Chipped around, that was Rob Dongora, also back from last year's Whalers team. He can't get a good handle on it with 13:25 to go in the first period. There's no score. Marks now looks around, keeps it on his right-hand side, and will let Mark Rivera do the skating. Rivera swings around. Rivera past the blue line. He's offside, according to linesman Tyler Iflin, and the puck will be brought back in the neutral zone with 13:13 to go in the first period. No score. Shots on goal now favor Dayton 6-2. Mike Brown in the pipes. 6 saves for him on the night. We'll have the face-off near side of the neutral zone, closest to Mike Brown and towards the referee crease. It'll be Rivera versus DeLong for this face-off. And Rivera gets a touch on it, but it will be Zanella backspacing it for Scott Morangel. Now picked up at the red line by Dan Pszczniczny. He will dump it off near corner. Nothing but green jerseys around as Mike Brown scoops it away from the reach of Michael Hansen, wearing Robert Van Weinsberg's old number as Pelche chips it. Picked up by the Whalers, Stan Velasov. He goes near corners. Pszczniczny now stands up. Number 12 of the Whalers and Mike Zanella. And this puck now finds a Demon in front of the bench. Lester Brown comes in, quick skates, and Danbury will take it away out of the neutral zone. DeLong now, near side Pszczniczny. He turns the corner. DeLong hits it off the glove of Matt Kinsella, and the Whalers looking for the first goal. Morangel sets it up. Liscombe near corner into the arms of Matt Kinsella. Poked away by Danbury. They're back on the attack as Morin can't reel it in with a high hand. Now settled down by Scott Morangel. No green jerseys in front. Goes for a line change instead. He angles it wide right of the net, and the Demons look to escort it towards Mike Brown. Whalers with 4 straight shots. They're down in the shots category 6-4 as Matt Kinsella will jump on top of it with an incoming Ian Riopel on his right side. We have played nearly 8 minutes of hockey. 12:03 to go in the first period. No score here from Hara Arena. Fans are starting to file in to this old hockey barn. It looks like a very nice crowd out here tonight. In the previous 5 games, 3 of those being at the Danbury Ice Arena and 2 of those being here at Hara Arena. All 5 games have brought at least 2,000 people each into their stands. Ryan Patch comes in. Matt Kinsella looks like he was getting his gear checked out. Ryan Patch leans in, and Ronsberg hits this off to the neutral zone. 2 defenders going back for Danbury, but Mike Brown way out of his crease up front knocks it towards his left. This puck will bounce towards the Dayton sin bin. This will bounce off the near corner. Danbury's attacking zone. Marks now swings it towards the right. Ronsberg through his skates, and that wicked shot, far point, goes wide right for Danbury. Loose puck now controlled. We'll have a Dayton knockdown, a Dayton Demon player knockdown. Hicks now marks. Here's Ronsberg in front of his bench. Ronsberg finds Hicks. Hicks looking to get out of the neutral zone. He's checked. Mahfouz reaches for it. This loose puck coming away as Alex Norman wears number 10 for the Demons. We'll have Ronsberg take a slide. He keeps it for the Demons. Back up Ronsberg. Now Mahfouz. Mahfouz shot goes wide left. And Hicks U-turns for it. He will be cut off by Danbury's Rob Dongara. Here's Brian Marks with it, just shy of his attacking zone. Around the far corner, Mike Brown gets a piece of it, slows it down. Now controlled by Scott Morangel. 11 minutes to play in our first period. No score. Shots on goal favor Dayton 6-4. We'll have an icing call on the Whalers, bringing him back in front of the Danbury veteran goalie and Mike Brown, who a couple weeks ago played his 100th game in Danbury, Connecticut. As the Whaler goalie stretches, as the puck will be brought back near the Danbury bench. It'll be to the left of Mike Brown. 10:56 to go in the first period. No score. First of two home games here at Hara this weekend. Tomorrow the Steel City Warriors come in. It'll be first responders night as Mark Revere had the puck through his legs, and that will allow Zanella to zip it far side. Demon goes tumbling towards one of the linesmen. Kinsella behind his cage stops it, and now here comes Peter Satala. Satala wings around the blue line. He manages to get the puck on the backboards. Mike Brown almost hits it right towards the defender in Jake Lobato, former Steel City Warrior. Zatala knocks it back to the logo, picked up by Scott Morangel. Out of the reach of Zanella. The Demons pop it up in the neutral zone, and here is Rivera sending it up for Lobato. Lobato will head back towards the bench as it's kicked back by Danbury in the near corner by Stan Vlasov. Whalers now send it forward. Schnitzny slows it. Now in front of the Danbury sin bin and taking it into the attacking zone. Here's Rivera. Rivera drops it out of the reach of Dan Morin, and nice job cutting his way in was Ryan Patch. Here comes Brett Liscombe on a 2-on-2. Patch pulls it back, Liscombe in front. That shot will ricochet off the chest of Liscombe. He's trying to fire the pass back into the slot, and Alex Norman gives him another idea as Norman takes it far side. Norman now up front. Here's Morin. Morin far side past the red line, dumps it off, goes back to the bench for a change. So does Alex Norman. Jared Hicks, Seth Ronsberg will return to the fray with Peter Satala. Mafu's on the chase for it, and it's Kuda getting it towards the left, over the left hand of Satala in the neutral zone, heading towards two stripes, picked up by Jared Hicks on the near side of things. 9:23 to go in our first period. No score. Shots on goal still read 6-4 in favor of the home team. Satala feeds it behind Matt Kinsella. Now here's Hicks, far face-off circle behind the back of Seth Ronsberg. Ronsberg knocks it off his chest after a push from Zach Kuda. Ronsberg goes to the left, out of the reach of Jared Hicks. Mike Brown holds up his left hand. No icing as Danbury gets there first, just out of the reach of Ahmed Mahfouz. And now with it in the neutral zone north of the logo is Rob Dongora. Dongora chases forward, Patch has it, kicks it back in the slot. Morangel shots it. It's deflected off a player up front. And here's Ronsberg feeding up. It is out of the reach of Satala, picked up by the Danbury Whalers, Vlasov. This puck goes ricocheting out of the neutral zone, settled down by Brian Marks. 8:35 now left in our first period. No score. Still 10 shots, 6 of them for the Demons. And there's Zanella with the 5th for the Whalers. Hits it off the glove hand of Kinsella. He'll set it up for Ronsberg, who U-turns into the neutral zone, feeds Hicks. Hicks now on a 2-on-3, breaks away from the third Whaler. Hicks far face-off circle. Marks shot wide to the left. That was a sniper shot from the defender. One-timer by Marks goes wide left. He has the puck again. Looks in the neutral zone. Mahfouz skates forward, and Marks takes it. Liscombe towards his left. Behind him was Mike Zanella. Here's Morangel taking a hit from Michael Hansen. Hansen has had a journey of a ride thus far in the Federal Hockey League. Waved twice by Danville. Waved once by Dayton. And traded from Watertown. He's back with the Demons as Zanella leads it forward. It's a 3-on-3 as Zanella hits this towards Kinsella. He slides to the right of his crease. Pelche now will reach for it in front of his bench. Two Whalers circling around, now picked up by Hansen. Hansen with Patch, and Patch knocked down off the back of Hansen. Mike Brown keeps away from Lester Brown, the former battalion member. This puck heading towards the neutral zone. It's Alex Norman. He will cut off Brett Liscombe. This puck heading back towards the Danbury attacking zone. Norman sets up from a check from Kuda. Norman near boards, feeds Lester Brown the red line. Lester Brown on a 2-on-2. Mahfouz towards his right. Mahfouz shot deflected away, goes wide left. Neiman is standing up. Lester Brown shot by Alex Norman, gobbled up by Mike Brown, and the Demons have their first shot in about a span of 5 to 6 minutes. And that will take us to a media timeout with 7:02 to go in the first period. Dayton and Danbury are scoreless. And the third meeting here at home against the Whalers in the 6 overall, where Danbury leads the season series 3-1-1. And while we have a chance here on the media timeout, we'll go ahead and thank some of our sponsors. The Dayton Demonz always would like to pay tribute to their 2014-2015 sponsors, and they are as follows: Right Pat Credit Union, Travelplex, Heidelberg Distributing, Premier Health. They're the official sponsor of the 3 Stars of the Game post-game show. You can hear that after the game is finished. Boston Bistro and Pub, they're the home of the Dayton Power Play Pretzel, along with Dr. Ray Shank Chiropractic Offices, The Next Way Marketing, Source One Graphics, Dual Printing, Pop Tops Apparel, Oracle One and Range, Buffalo Wild Wings, the Best Western Plus Northwest in Inglewood, Ohio, the official host hotel of the Demons opponents. As right now, Mike Brown, he's skating towards the Danbury sin bin without his helmet. He's talking to one of the off-ice officials. In comes Brian Marks. Not sure what the conversation is, actually. Right now, Mike Brown's gear, most of it is on top of the net, his face mask being the most important piece. 7:02 to go in the first period. No score. Mike Brown with 7 saves. Matt Kinsella with 5. Here in a nicely packed house here this Friday evening. The first home game since January the 16th. 6th game this season against the Whalers, as Mike Brown getting some tape on his stick, it looks like. He's taping up as Seth Ronsberg leans over. It looks like Mike Brown is satisfied with the tape job, and he'll head back. Looks like it was a crack in between the thicker part of the goalie stick and the handle. So Mike Brown says that will do. He'll put on his helmet once again. He'll set up his gear. We'll have a face-off to the right of Mike Brown as Dayton and Danbury is scoreless. About 13 minutes into our contest here. You're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching live on FHL Live and also Dayton Access Television. Mark near point. He scoops it, and this will be blocked away from Mike Brown. Looped up is Liscombe, hits the glass in the neutral zone. Patch frees it away. Zanella, open shot at the 5-hole. Kinsella, that bounces in. Patch gets the rebound and puts it up for the first goal of the game. Ryan Patch, 20th goal on the season to lead with Ian DeLong. And the Whalers lead 1-0, 6:48 to go in the first period. Ryan Patch gets a nice pick on a puck that Matt Kinsella could not reel in. And the Whalers make the Demons goalie pay. Kinsella 2-2 on the season against the Whalers. He allows the first goal of the game. It's Ryan Patch's 20th. 1-0 Danbury your score. 6 3/4 now left in our first period. Morangel now anchors the defensive line. Morangel goes towards the left in the neutral zone, sits it around the corners as Morangel finished in the boards by Ahmed Mahfouz. Meanwhile, Zanella's slot leaves it behind. Liscombe shot saved by Kinsella on his right leg pad. And Len Pelche stripped away Zanella. Quick speed by Zanella. He will shoot this, and this will be into the stick of Len Pelche looking for Mahfouz. It will get away from Mahfouz, and Mike Brown will keep it away from the bearded number 19. Zanella, that will skip off his stick, and the 2 defenders played as Danbury leads 1-0. Ryan Patch with his 20th. Mahfouz near face-off circle, drops it out of the reach of Ronsberg. Pshnichny now, far point. Dan Pshnichny feeds it, bounces off the end boards, and Scott Morangel will cut off Mark Rivera. Satella tries to slow it down. He's got the puck at the near point. Rivera heads towards the slot. Shot blocked off the body of Scott Morangel, and Rob Dongara looks towards the left for Ian Riopel. This puck behind the goal line of Matt Kinsella as Riopel finishes Dan Pshnichny off on a check. And now Peter Satala, he looks towards his right for Pshnichny, who earlier in the season was coaching a junior hockey league team in Berkeley, Michigan, part of the Midwest Junior Hockey League team, the Berkeley Bruins. However, they folded, and that is why Pshnichny is with the Demons as of right now. He's got the puck, Dan Pshnichny. He'll hit it off the stick of a Whaler, almost in the reach of Lester Brown.
And if you remember a couple weeks back, Coach Karazowicz said Lester Brown, great hands, as he swings it behind him, out of the reach of Demonz, and now settled down by Riopel. He'll rainbow one into the neutral zone. Pshnichny now keeps it away from Rob Dongara. Lester Brown, red line behind him. Here's Rivera. 4:56 to go in the first period. 1-0 Danbury. Kickback, here's Morin's shot off of Mike Brown. He swats it to the near point. Norman sets it up near corner for Lester Brown. Far corner here is Morin. Morin, far face-off circle. Back at the far point. Pshnichny shot. Mike Brown, he can't control it, but he has a whole army of Whalers sweeping away that shot near point. Alex Norman blocked away. Shots on goal now read 10-9 in favor of Dayton as Lester Brown comes up with the puck just south of the near face-off circle. The puck is freed away, and Zanella goes golfing towards this. This will be to the left of Matt Kinsella off the end boards, icing against the Whalers. Stop the clock at 4 1/4 to go in the first. Danbury 1, Dayton 0. Shots on goal favor Dayton by 1, 10-9. Ryan Patch takes a rebound, takes a puck that Matt Kinsella was unable to clean up, and puts it in for the Whalers' first goal of the game. Mike Zanella with the assist, by the way. Zanella with his 11th on the season. 1-0 Whalers. Demonz have the puck. Ronsberg sets it up. Hicks just shy of the slot, out of the reach of Mahfouz, and that is cleared into the neutral zone. Excuse me, out of the neutral zone, and this will head towards the near corner. Icing against Danbury. Just 14 seconds after the last Danbury icing, they'll put it back in front of Mike Brown. With 4:01 to go in the first period, 1-0 Whalers to score. Ryan Patch, the goal scorer. The Whalers undefeated here at Hara against the Demonz. They won by 2, and they put 2 empty-netted goals against the Demonz. Matt Kinsella, both home losses for him as Marks feeds it up, trying to look for Mahfouz, and Mike Brown gets it, finds Ryan Patch behind him. Over the stick is Zanella. This is heading towards the red line. Zanella, he's got a 1-on-3, turns the corner against Brian Martz, and he will shoot the puck at Matt Kinsella. And the Dayton goalie comes up with a save. He's got 9 on the contest. Mike Brown with 10. 3 3/4 left in our first period. 1-0 Danbury. Face-off will be to the right of Kinsella. Demonz at home, 11-5-2. Danbury on the road, 10-5-3. Liscombe versus Ronsberg. Through the legs of Dayton's Ronsberg, picked up by Santala. He will take a check by Kuda, and the referee will blow his whistle as that is Matt Kinsella jumping on top of the puck. And Kinsella looks shaken up. He's still on his knees. Face-off will be to the right of Kinsella, who is slow to get up. Jared Hicks leans over his goalie. The backup tonight for the Dayton Demonz is Dan McWhinney. Wears number 35, played with head coach Trevor Karazowicz in the Outlaws title run back in 2011-2012, where the Outlaws took it to the Danbury Whalers, their first of 3 straight trips, the Whalers, to the FHL Commissioner's Cup Finals. And Kinsella now being looked over by a trainer. 3:40 to go in the first period. 1-0 Danbury. Mike Zanella with the assist. And Ryan Patch with a goal. Zanella with assist number 11, and Patch with his 20th. Kinsella leaning back. The trainer knocked away. Kinsella trying to stretch it out in his blue crease. And now he gets up on his skates. Kinsella will take a deep breath as he looks to adjust his gear. Trainer back to the Dayton bench. 1-0 Whalers, 3:40 to go in the first period. Looks like it is Matt Kinsella. He'll shake it off. Face off, poked off a Demon stick, won by the Whalers. Shot between the points and score. It is, as told by Jelly, Scott Morangel with his second goal for the Whalers between the points, and Danbury leads 2-0, 3:35 to go in the first period. After the Demons got off to a hot start in the first period, the Whalers now outshoot the Demons 11-10, and they have poured 2 goals. First one was Ryan Patch's 20th, and that was Morangel's second. He is back from the country of France. Got to play the sport he loves in Europe. And remember, in the first year, our interviews with Coach Lefebvre, he said playing in Europe is an experience like no other. But Scott Morangel with the second goal for Danbury. Whalers 2-0 score, 3:23 to go in the first period. Set up now for Danborn. Far point of the Whalers attacking zone. Morangel will rip the puck away. Morangel goes far corner, checked into the boards by Michael Hansen. The Demons sell it behind Mackinsella, and Mark Rivera looking to chow down into this Danbury lead. Rivera past all the green, takes it. Mike Brown, save off his chest, and Mike Brown with a save, and the net comes dislodged as Morangel starting to get into it with Dan Morin. And Tyler Iflin, one of the linesmen, breaks it away. It looks like Michael Hansen's getting tugged by a Whaler too. He's got Scott Morangel as the Dayton Mobile DJ rings his fight bell. But to his disappointment and the Demons fans here, there will not be a fight. It will be broken up as the linesman will have the duty of repairing the net again. 2:56 to go in the first period. Danbury 2, Dayton 0. Goals by Patch, his 20th, and Morangel, his second. Right now it's Chris Binkley setting in the net for Mike Brown. Binkley will squirt a couple drops of water on it to make sure it freezes better to the ice. And it looks like we'll have the drop in the neutral zone. Far side neutral zone, Mark Rivera versus Ryan Patch for this face-off. As Rivera reaches on the red dot, the Whalers come up with the puck. Dan Morin on the chase for it. Morangel far face-off circle. Goes behind for Kristaps Neimanis. Neimanis to the right, finds Morangel. They go in the neutral zone. Out of the reach of Zach Kuda. Kuda sells it down. Kuda's shot, saved by Kinsella. And that'll stop the clock at 2:40 to go in the first period. 2-0 your score in favor of the visiting Danbury Whalers. They're looking to stay perfect here in Dayton, Ohio. Currently, they're 2-0 here in Dayton. Both those victories were 2-goal wins. And the last goal scored were empty netters by the Whalers. Face-off recovered by Brian Marks. Behind him is Rob Dongora. Sailed down by Zanella. That shot flicked off Matt Kinsella. Back to Zanella. He will parallel it in front of the goalie. And Mahfouz flicks it behind him for Ronsberg. Behind his back, here's Hicks. Hicks tried to turn the corner. Mahfouz knocked down. Mike Brown will cover up the puck as Hicks ran into the end boards. As Ian Riopel gets his stick. Mahfouz knocked down on the ice. Mahfouz asking for a penalty from Paul Jean. It looks like the referee says, nope, you're not getting one. So we'll have a face-off in front of Mike Brown with 2:22 to go in the first period. 2-0 Danbury, your score. And so far, we have yet to see a penalty put up on the board. Mahfouz nods his head as Paul Jean explains why. Right now, Mahfouz, Hicks, Ronsberg on the ice, the first line of offense for the Demons. And Alex Norman and Brian Marks in the back line. Starting five, with the exception of Pierre Satala. There's a shot by Norman that will ricochet off Mike Brown's pass. Norman had a sweet one-timer as now Ronsberg sails it down. He's got Morangel behind him. Marks from the near point goes middle point. That is flicked off a Whaler over the net of Mike Brown as that puck finds the far point for Norman. He'll go far bend this time, and at the second right-hand turn, Ronsberg feeds it, looking for Hicks. That'll go away. Here is Norman with the pickup. His shot bounces off Brett Liscomb. Liscomb looks to take it into the neutral zone, but here's Mahfouz. Turn the corner against Morangel. Mahfouz can't get a clean shot. Morangel with some nice grinding defense on number 19. Loose puck, Alex Norman blocked by Ryan Patch, but Norman does all he can to physically keep the puck Demons' way. 2-0 Danbury your score. We will have our first penalty on the game. It's a hooking call with 1:35 to go in the first period. Right now, Ahmed Mahfouz looks like he's chanting towards one of the Whalers. One team's going on a power play as Paul Jean whistled a hook. And it looks like it's going to be Ryan Patch serving the minutes. For Ryan Patch, that will be minutes number 40 and 41 if the Whalers can kill this. The Whalers have the best penalty kill unit in the league. They have killed all but 19 opportunities and 183 attempts. That percentage at 89.6%. The Demons power play, third best in the league. They have 26 power play goals and 136 at a percentage of 19.1. Demons on the power play looking to trim into this deficit. 1:35 to go in the first period. 2-0 Danbury, and Mike Brown has a couple words with Paul Jean. Jared Hicks leans in. It will be Mike Zanella looking for this faceoff. Ryan Patch in for two for hooking. Ronsberg pokes it away. Mike Brown comes out of his crease, swings it over towards his left, and Liscombe with a good clear to burn the first few seconds of Dayton's first power play on the night. 1:22 now left in the first period. Demons on the power play for a Patch hook. Marks in the neutral zone off the skates of Seth Ronsberg, and that is cleared back out of the neutral zone. Brian Marks sells it down. 1:35 left on the power play. If the Demons can't score within the remainder of the first period, they'll start off with a little bit of time in the second period on a power play. Orangel with a nice clear. We're in our final minute of the first period. Here's Marks. Goes towards the right, heads towards the Danbury slot, curves towards his right in the neutral zone. He will swing away from Dongora. Marks now turns the corner from Liscombe. There's a loose glove on the ice in the neutral zone, but there's a loose puck, and sipping it away is Dongara with a little help from Vlasov. 36 seconds now left in the first period. Danbury up 2-0. Patch with his 20th. Morangel with his second. 57 seconds now remain on the Dayton power play. Pelche from the far point takes it far face-off circle. Curves towards his left. Another left-hand curve for the defender. Now here is a shot. It's a Santala robbed by Mike Brown. He had a Whaler and a Demon body in front of him, and Santala looking to angle it to the left of the veteran goalie. But Mike Brown manages another save. That's his 14th. The shots on goal favor Dayton 14-12. Danbury 2, Dayton 0. 20.4 seconds to go in the first period. Michael Hansen leans in against Brett Liscombe, the captain of the Whalers. Puck is recovered by Hansen. Near point, here's Pelche. 15 seconds in the first period. Rivera towards his left. Lester Brown around the corner. Lester Brown near face-off circle behind him. Here's Rivera. 7 seconds now left in the first period. Rivera's shot saved by Mike Brown, rebounded, and the referee whistles it dead with 3.9 seconds to go in the first period and 29 seconds left in the 5-on-4 for the Demons. Mike Brown had that puck burp off his gear, and I believe Paul Jean didn't have a good angle on it as he was behind Mike Brown towards the left. He thought Mike Brown held on to it. And to the left, it will be Liscombe versus Hicks, the battle of the nines. Ronsberg's shot, saved by Mike Brown. He kicks it out, and that will do it for our first period, where the Danbury Whalers put 2 on the board, and they lead the Dayton Demons after 20 minutes of play. 2-0, Whalers your score. Goals by Ryan Patch and Scott Morangel as Paul Jean holds up his left hand. As the Demons make their way to the locker room, the Whalers not too far behind. They'll check in theirs. And that is the end of the first period. Dayton trails Danbury 2-0. You're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching live on FHL Live and also on Dayton Access Television. You're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching live on FHL Live, brought to you by Point Streak, and you're watching Dayton Access Television, a fine cable channel that's been around since the 70s. When C.J. McClin, I believe, was the mayor back then. They have footage of their very first broadcast, and it's kind of neat to see how television and broadcasting technology has come such a long way. Mike Brown now in the crease in front of the Zamboni doors. The Whalers head from the right to the left, and Dayton left to the right. This is where, when you're heading towards your bench, you also see your goalie that you're supposed to fire shots at. The only period that you see this happen here at Hara Arena, an older hockey barn, meaning the benches are spread apart. 2 sections in between the Whalers bench, which is being led by David Lund tonight, and the Demons bench, led by assistant coach Jack Collins tonight. Trevor Karaszewicz serving 1 of 2 games of a suspension. Roger Daguna also suspended for 2 in his actions on Saturday. when he fought 2 Whalers in a row, and Jason Petrziak suspended for 7. The Whalers in the Kelly green jerseys, white letters and numbers, black trim, white logo on the front, and also the alternative logo of the Whalers, the D and the W with a spear going between the letters on the left shoulders. The Dayton Demonz in the white jerseys. White jerseys, black letters and numbers, red trim, the FHL Commissioner's Cup champion badge on the right shoulders, and also a Buffalo Wild Wings logo on the right as well. Ahmed Mahfouz will stand next to Kristaps Nemenis as in the center circle. Demons still 25 seconds on a power play. Hicks will battle Brett Liscomb. Liscomb with goal number 13 in the season. That's the Whalers' second. And the first one was the 20th by Ryan Patch. And that's where we stand right now. Demons left, right. Whalers right, left. 20 minutes put on the board as Paul Jean ready to drop the puck. He's talking to Brett Liscomb for a minute. It looks like Liscomb skates on his logo. As Mahfouz and Nemenis having a conversation with the skulls next to each other. Zanella says, "You take that side, buddy." And Jared Hicks has won the faceoff. We're back underway. Demons trail the Whalers of Danbury 2-0. 18 seconds left on the power play. Here's Marks. He's got 3 green jerseys in front of him. Goes to the left, far boards, zipped around the corners. Ahmed Mahfouz awaits the arrival of the puck. He's slammed in the boards by Mike Zanella, who breaks his stick in half. It's set up near point for Dan Pshnichny. Between the points, here's Brian Marks. Chips it in. That will deflect off a body, and the first power play of the game is over. Ryan Patch can come out to play. Meanwhile, Ahmed Mahfouz, even strength, gets it for Pshnichny. A delay penalty, and that puck goes behind the net. As Mahfouz knocked down, it's going to be interference, the call. Much to the delight of the Demons fans making the trip on this Friday evening, as Mike Zanella looks for a new stick, and the linesman said, "No, you can get that later." Zanella goes to the box for interference, and after the Demons can't convert their first power play on the game, they get another one. 2-0 Whalers, 19:22 to go in the second period. So far, Mike Brown, 16 saves with 16 shots, and the linesman tries to hand Zanella a new stick, and he drags it on the ice, or the glass rather. Almost the effect of that one junior hockey player that got the hockey stick stuck between the doors and then knocked himself out. Face off, recovered by Ahmed Mahfouz. The puck goes past Dan Pshnichny as Matt Kinsella waits for it behind the red line, and Ryan Patch U-turns around. 12 seconds into the power play, and the Demons will roll into the neutral zone after an S-curve from Brian Marks. Marks' pass jepped away by Brett Liscomb. Now in the possession of Mahfouz. Looking for Hicks. Knocked back in the neutral zone, but Dan Pshnichny is there. Pshnichny feeds it up for Mahfouz rather. Mahfouz swings it towards his left. Seth Ronsberg on the ice in place of Brian Marks. Gets it back for Mahfouz. 1:22 to go in the power play, and Mahfouz trying to zig and zag, but on the zig he loses the puck, and Danbury gets a nice clear back towards Kinsella. 1:13 to go on the interference call on the Whalers. Demons on their second power play, and Dayton 0 for 1 thus far. The first one was a hooking call on Ryan Patch. Nemenis is clear, hits off the stick of a Demon. It's in the neutral zone right now, less than a minute to go on the 5-on-4. Mahfouz sliding, Hicks can't reach it, and Liscomb gets it away from Pshnichny. And on the race, looking for a shorthander is Ian DeLong. DeLong squeezed in the near corner, 3 Demons come by, and Mark Rivera leads the puck up front. He's got Dan Morin towards the left, now out of the neutral zone. Rivera takes it near face-off circle, circles the cage on Mike Brown. Now for Morin, far face-off circle, 33 seconds left on the 5-on-4 for Dayton. Pelche, far point, looks for Morin. Morin, here's Santala. Santala near face-off circle, shoots it wide left. Morin will pick it up on the far corner, however. 22 seconds left, and that clear will likely kill the rest of the time the Demons have on the extra man advantage. Ian DeLong with that last clear for Danbury. Last clear for Danbury was Ian DeLong. Feed up to Rivera. Rivera can't get a clean shot. It goes wide right of the cage. 6 seconds left as Lester Brown takes flight. Lester Brown looks for Santala. Santala, 1 second, even strength. That will bounce in! Just as the Whalers kill the second power play on the night for the Demons, it bounces past Mike Brown, and the Demons have cut the lead in half. And if you're wondering what are all those packages flying on the ice, along with the foam skulls by Springfield Urology Center, I'm trying to get a good look on the ice as someone's skull hits the back of the old LED boards. Those appear to be packages of diapers on the ice, and the Demons go to work on the clean. And I believe those diapers will be going to a great cause towards children at Dayton Children's that might not have luxury of being able to get diapers. The fans have really turned out on this great cause. It's 2-1 Danbury, 17-19 to go in the second. And the official reading I have in my script: wrapped plastic diapers are donated to Children's Hospital Home Care. As the fans will continue to throw their skulls, and someone has won a nice prize. 2-1 Danbury, your score. As Mike Brown fixes his gear, we'll see who had that goal for the Demons. Just a recap, in that first period for Danbury, the goals were scored by Ryan Patchka and Brett Liscombe. Liscombe with his 13th. It was not Scott Morangel. He flicked it in for an assist, and Ryan Patch with his 20th. And the Demons cut into the deficit with an even strength goal, as the Demons and some of the fans are sweeping the diapers over towards the Zamboni doors. This cleanup looked like it could take a little bit here at Hara Arena, but a good cause, as the fans have really rose to the occasion, as Jared Hicks has a foam skull on the top of his stick, flicks it to a fan sitting in the third row of section 26. Lucky souvenir for that fan, as the cleanup continues here at Hara Arena. Demons score even strength. 2-1 Danbury is your score, with 17-19 to go in the second period. So we have this break in the action. Shots on goal favor the Demons by 5 at 17-12. As now the sweeping continues. Looks like they don't have enough storage in the Rubbermaid container. That is why they're sweeping it towards the Zamboni doors. For a minute there, I was thinking, why are we sweeping them towards the right? I was like, oh yeah. So right now the Demons working on the cleanup. Those diapers going to Dayton Children's. Great cause, and every time the Demons, or actually any hockey team, but since I broadcast for the Dayton Demonz, it'll sound a little bit like I'm a homer, but anytime a hockey team does something great for a great cause, it always warms your hearts. Also, fans, tomorrow night is First Responders Night. The Demons will be donning a special jersey against the Steel City Warriors. Pre-game will be 7:15. And the first puck drop face-off will be 7:35. We hope you join us for that here on GemCitySports.com and FHLI by Point Streak. DATV will have this game archived sometime next week. And actually, I do have the schedule of when the broadcast will be re-aired on DATV. Let's go ahead and pull it up for you while cleanup continues here at Hara Arena. Almost done. We're about ready for hockey. DATV can be seen on Time Warner Cable, Channel 5 in the city of Dayton, Riverside, and Butler Township, North Dayton area. Channel 6 in Huber Heights, Vandalia, Inglewood, Trotwood, Union, Harrison Township, Fairborn, Xenia, Cedarville, Jamestown, and on weekends at Springfield and New Carlisle. And 23 in Clark County, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, South Charleston, and Fairborn, meaning if you live in Wright State, you get this channel. But from my experience, I live out towards the west in West Alexandria, it doesn't have it listed, check your local listings because it could be just your local access network. So it could be Channel 5 for you there. This game will re-air Monday, February the 2nd at 8, Wednesday, February the 4th at 1:30, and Saturday the 7th at 5. They'll also be live on DATV.org in case you do not get Time Warner Cable or you are out of the area and you do want to see this broadcast again. It's a free Ustream stream provided by DATV. Also on channel 991, Miami Valley Communications channel in Miamisburg, Oakwood, Kettering, West Carrollton, Germantown, Centerville, Springboro, and Moraine. So 3 times next week. We hope you enjoy the DATV broadcast. 2-1 Danburry your score, and the goal goes for Mark Rivera. That is his 16th on the year. Danburry 2, Dayton 1. Mark Rivera with the goal. Peter Satala gets an assist too. That's his 9th as Mark sets it up. Here's Ronsberg, far face-off off of Mike Brown, and Ronsberg kicks it towards the near side. Beats Hicks at the near point. Hits it off the body of Liscombe, and with it now Alex Norman. Norman's shot off of the stick of Mahfouz, flicks away from Mike Brown, but Jared Hicks comes up with a nice rebound on the puck. Goes from Mahfouz behind the goal line. Hicks now off his skate, controls it. He's got someone behind him, Ian DeLong. Hicks now in the slot. Mahfouz jammed by Nemenis, who is right on his left shoulder, and Danburry goes back to work. The Whalers lead 2-1. Mark Rivera with his 16th goal of the season for the Demons, and Mahfouz leads a 2-on-1, looking for Ronsberg, deflected off the second Whaler incoming. But meanwhile, here's Mahfouz. He's in the slot now near face-off circle. Kicks it back Marks. Near point. Marks now looks at his options. Swings at Mike Brown. Will jump on top of it. He had 2 white jerseys in front of him and 1 green jersey a little bit ahead, but to the right. Whalers lead 2-1, 16-14 to go in the second period. Face off to the left of Mike Brown, who now has 19 saves on 20 shots. And for Matt Kinsella, he's got 10 saves on 12. Rivera jams up with Ryan Patch. Patch had the first goal of the game, his 20th, and he wins the faceoff as he finds Dongara up front. There's a sweep by Ian Riopel, wide right of the cage of Kinsella, picked up by Len Pelche. Here's Lester Brown. He sells it down, swings it just out of the reach of Jake Lobato. It will not be icing as Mike Brown swings it behind him. Now Riopel knocked down the ice. It's a clean play as Paul Jean does not raise his right hand. Shot from the near boards, Rob Dongara, and Matt Kinsella comes up with a glove save. 13 shot on the net for Danburry as Pshnichny and Rob Dongara exchange some pleasantries. Dongara playing his 11th game with the Danburry Whalers, played last year as Jake Lobato. We'll head back towards the bench. 15:48 to go in the second period. 2-1 Danburry your score. Ryan Patch leans in against Rivera. Face off near side to the right of Kinsella, knocked in the near corner, picked up by Pshnichny. Goes up for Lester Brown, out of his reach, and Danburry picks it up at the red line. Scott Morangel sips it in off of Matt Kinsella's body, and he'll cough it up for Dan Pshnichny. Pshnichny now swings it towards his left. Pelche back to number 4. And Pshnichny goes up front, neutral zone time. Lester Brown jammed up, and Danburry goes back on a 3-on-2. But Michael Hansen has it, swings it towards Mike Brown. It's icing against the Demons. And that'll put us back in front of Matt Kinsella, but 15:19 to go in the second. A 2-1 lead for the Danburry Whalers. Mark Rivera's goal, assisted by Lester Brown. Lester Brown with his 3rd assist with the Demons and his 7th on the season, formerly of Berkshire, was traded from the battalion to the Demons. As there's a shot goes high by Ian DeLong, looking to give Danburry another 2-goal lead. He angles it high as Hansen. He'll try to turn the corner against Zach Kuda, and Kristaps Nemenis, he'll pick up the puck and race it forward. Nemenis also with the highest plus ranking on the Whalers at +13. Pelche lost his stick. Kinsella hits it behind his skate. He'll hit off the protective net, and we might have a face-off in front of the Dayton goalie. 14:55 to go in the second period. 2-1 Danbury your score. New 5 on the ice for the Demons. It will be Jared Hicks along with Seth Ronsberg and Ahmed Mahfouz, Peter Satala, and Brian Marks, your defensemen. For Danbury, we see Lipscomb, Zanilla, and DeLong up front. Kuda and Neimanis in the back. Whalers playing with 12 total players tonight, 10 that are not goalies. Demons 15, 13 that are non-goalies. Mike Brown holds up his right stick and says that's icing, and the linesmen do agree. It's heading back in front of Kinsella. Danbury 2, Dayton 1. Mark Rivera with the lone goal thus far in the second period to cut the lead down to 1. Patch and Liscombe with the Whaler goals in the first period. Rivera with the goal at the 2:41 mark. Shots on goal favor Dayton, 20-14. That puck near point, Neimanis feeds it back up. In the slot is Brian Marks, and he'll roll it out of the neutral zone. Hicks towards his right, Mahfouz far right, shot by Marks, swat away by Mike Brown. Back at the far point, Marks hits it off the skate of a Demon, Jared Hicks. And here is Zanella. He goes high shelf over the head of Kinsella. And Dongara just a hair late as he steps out of the bench. Here's Mahfouz now near point. Around the body of Neimanis, picked up by Hicks. Hicks on the goal line. Hicks now looks for Ronsberg behind him. To the left is Santala. Marks. Now here's Mahfouz. Mahfouz in the slot, kicks it back behind him. Mike Brown looked like he got a piece of it, or Ryan Patch did, as Ronsberg was trapped in a green sandwich. 6 minutes gone from the second period. 2-1. Danbury is your score. Demons 0 for 2 on the power play. Danbury yet to go on the man advantage, but they're going on a 2-on-3 now, as that shot broken up by the stick of Brian Marks by number 32 and Ian Riopel. Morangel on the race for it. Hicks slides in. He can't get a good motion of it forward, but Mahfouz playing on the back with Ronsberg. He'll send it up into the attacking zone of the Demons. Mahfouz now swings around a couple defenders. Mahfouz far side, far face-off circle, trying to turn the corner against Stan Vlasov, and the puck just out of the reach of Ryan Patch. It's back for Morin. Morin tries to jam it in. Mahfouz, it pops off his stick. 13:25 to go in the second. 2-1 Danbury. We have a Whaler in the Dayton slot, moving it forward. Vlasov looking for a streaking Riopel, but Dan Schnitzny is there. At the far point, here is Mahfouz. Mahfouz with 2 Whalers in front. Vlasov has it, pops it up in the air, and it's held down by Dan Schnitzny. 2 Whalers upcoming for the defender for Dayton, playing in his 14th game with the Demons crew. 2-1 Danbury your score, 12:50 to go in the 6th game overall between these two teams. These two teams have faced each other in the final. Shot deflected just out of the reach of Mike Brown, but he was ready to pounce on top of the puck. Meanwhile, Morangel behind him, and DeLong had it slip off his puck just in the reach of Rivera for a couple seconds. Loose puck, it slips through the cracks of Riopel's stick in the boards. Here is now Rivera. Rivera now near point, turns it over, was tangled up with Ian DeLong, and the Whalers look to counter. It's a 2-on-2. Liscombe tangled up. Nice job by Alex Norman. He flings the puck around the corners, stays with it as Ian DeLong slides into the goal. Now here's Norman on a 2-on-3. Whalers with 3 in front. Norman goes for a shot. Mike Brown save at the 5. Loose puck heading towards referee Paul Jean, but he can't play it. It's going to be the Whalers taking the loose puck. Vlasov angles this one far corner. Kinsella comes out off the back of Jared Hicks. This will take the rally around the boards as Pelche, great spin, knocks it away, and we're going to have a backtrack of the puck as Norman behind him for Pelche. 11:41 to go in the second period. Dayton trails 2-1. Mark Revere with the lone Demons score thus far. We've seen the skulls and the diapers fly. Here's Mahfouz. He can't get a good handle on the puck, and Ryan Patch takes it the other way. It's a 2-on-2. Zanella now tangled in the slot. Patch tries to jam it in. He stays wide right. Kinsella back in his crease as he leans over his right shoulder. Here's Patch. Shot blocked by Mahfouz. Mahfouz gets the puck as he's taken down by the boards. And the puck will now find Ahmed Mahfouz in his defending zone. Mahfouz goes to the far side, knocked down by Ronsberg. Ronsberg tangled to the puck, and Danbury now breaks away. It's a 1-on-1 as Riopel goes for a back turn shot, and it goes wide left. Riopel will skate backwards towards his bench as Pelche picks up the loose puck behind his cage. Pelche goes to the right, angles this one, knocked down by Rivera. He's got to hurry, and the Whalers will box him off the puck, but Dan Morin is there to play it in the neutral zone. Bourne, Satala, near side neutral zone. Mahfouz towards the left at the near point. Satala near face-off circle now. Satala knocked off his railings. It's swept away by Rondon Gar. Here's Scott Morangel now. Morangel against Satala. This puck goes back behind the goal line of Mike Brown. Mahfouz has it, far corner. Mahfouz looking for someone, swings it off the back of Mike Brown. Off the leg pads of Mike Brown is Mahfouz now near face-off circle. Knocked down on one knee. Ian DeLong right there. Dan Bashnichny on a deflection. And Ian DeLong will shove Ahmed Mahfouz on a fist down towards the ice. Mike Brown does come up with a save. Nothing serious on that as DeLong and Mahfouz break away from each other. Might just been DeLong trying to catch his balance. 10-11 to go in the second period. 2-1 Danbury, your score. Demons 0 for 2 on power plays. The Whalers yet to go on 1. 2 penalties on the Whalers. Patch and Zanella on a hook and an interference. Whalers looking for their 3rd win here at Hara Arena and the 3rd game in Dayton, Ohio. The Whalers have a big game tomorrow. They're in the neutral site game at Port Huron, Michigan. There's a shot, blast off the leg pad of Mike Brown. It's off the Danbury goalie, and a face-off awaits us to the right of Mike Brown. One of the linesmen leans in, makes sure that the crease is nice and level for Mike Brown. Rivera leans in against Danbury's Mike Zanella. Puck goes away from the circle, picked up by Morangel. Finds Patch. Patch swings it behind his back, only to have Marks play it. Now back in the attacking zone. Lester Brown can't pull off a shot. He was triple teamed by the Whalers. As here's Marks off the stick of a Whaler. Bears it forward. And we're going to have a whistle from Paul Jean. That's going to be a hand pass on the Demons, and Coach David Lunn asking, hey, how about a power play for my boys? Looks like Paul Jean is not going to do that, as we had a collision around the far boards, but a good idea by Lester Brown trying to reel it forward, but the referee says he was passing it with his hands, and that's a no-no. That will take us to our second media timeout of the game. Danbury 2, Dayton 1, 9:48 to go in the second. And these fans are loudly booing at that decision. So again, we'll tell you on DATV, this game will re-air Monday, February the 2nd at 8, Wednesday, February the 4th at 1:30, and the Demons are going on the penalty kill. And Saturday, February 7th at 5, we'll get you your channels after this. Danbury is going on a power play, their first, and on the face-off, Shea and the Demons clear it back. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Brian Marks. That's the penalty on Brian Marks. He has served 62 minutes penalty time as the Whalers power play unit gets to work. Second best in the league. 34 power play goals on 164 opportunities. That's 20.7%. The Demons penalty kill unit, second best only to Danbury. They've killed all but 24 power plays out of 160 attempts. That percentage at 85%. 4.6 away from the Whalers as Kinsella slows it down. Satala has it, looking for a good clear, and he swings it out of the neutral zone. Ronsberg trying to turn the handle. Mike Brown waves his left hand, and Neimanis comes up with it, takes a check from Seth Ronsberg, and Len Pelche on the chase. Whalers have yet to get a shot on this power play with 1:05 gone, and the Marks on sportsmanlike. Ronsberg looking for a shorty. He angles it wide left, and the Whalers go back. It's a 3-on-2, third and fourth Demon on the way. Zanella's shot knocked away by the stick of Peter Satala, and Zanella swings it towards the right-hand turn. Patch can't handle it, but Liscombe can. Liscombe far point. Here's DeLong. DeLong far point, now feeds it back for Patch in the far corner. Patch looking for the slot. Zanella unable to turn on it. And here's Ronsberg away from Neimanis. Ronsberg now leads a 3-on-1 shorthanded attempt. Ronsberg, Rivera, and Mike Brown. Great slide out. He pokes it away. Santala's shot gobbled up by the Danbury goalie. And that stops the clock at 8:12 to go in the second period, as the Demons have done an exceptional job killing off the Danbury power play. But don't load off your breaths yet, because Danbury still has 25 seconds on the Marks on sportsmanlike penalty. It will be Hicks versus Liscombe for this face-off to the right of Mike Brown. And Hicks had it for a second. The Whalers take it away from him. That pass by Danburry, taken away by Jared Hicks as Pashnichny angles this towards Mike Brown. The goalie comes out of his crease, but he will allow Stan Vlasov to take it. Vlasov turns on one, kicks it back for Patch. 6 seconds now left on the power play for Danburry. Patch, he turns it over, swings it around, and here's Hicks. We're back to even strength. Marks on a 2-on-2. Hicks U-turns, far point. Hicks now swings it towards the captain, and Brett Liscombe comes with it as Ronsberg out of the bench knocks right into Liscombe's chest. On the far corner, no icing. The Demons have to retrieve it. 7:28 to go in the second period. 2-1 Danburry, your score. Pashnichny overlaps Ahmed Mahfouz as Pashnichny's shot bounces on the glove of Mike Brown. He can't reel it in time, so he swings it away from the defender. And here goes Danburry on the neutral zone. Riopel sets it up. DeLong shot, save off the top of Kinsella. Vlasov around the corners, pulled down by DeLong. DeLong near side, looks at a couple of Whalers. His pass deflected into the neutral zone. He goes far corner this time. We're back to even strength as Kinsella slows it down. Though, make that number 35, Dan McWhinney. That's number 35 into the game for the Demons, as we'll have two Whalers chase this down. Zach Kuda trying to get around the near boards, avoids a Demon check, goes in the neutral zone. Nice shot by Brian Marks, and the puck belongs to Peter Satala and the Dayton Demons. 6.5 to go in the second, 2-1 Danburry. Ronsberg on a 3-on-2, two Whalers approaching, shot, and Mike Brown has it with a whole body of armies coming right at him. He bobbles it a little bit, but the most important thing, he keeps it in his possession. That's Dan McWhinney in the net for the Dayton Demons, number 35. He's taking the place of Kinsella, who sits behind the Zamboni doors. We'll take a break as you're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching FHL Live and DATV. Your score was 6:22 to go in the second. Danburry 2, Dayton 1.
I'm Sally, a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs. Excuse me, hi. What do you think this place needs?
I'd like to see more parking.
More playgrounds.
Free movies.
That's easy. Better restaurants.
And you, what do you think this place needs?
This place? Oh, more ice cream trucks.
Okay. How about you?
Wi-Fi everywhere?
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
Oh, that's way better.
Now that you mention it.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Danburry 2, Dayton 1. I look on the game sheet, and Dan McWhinney has been in this game since the second period began. So I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Dan McWhinney making his Dayton Demons debut, like you heard in the pregame interview with Coach Trevor Karazowicz. They were on the championship New Jersey Outlaw team before that team moved west to Pennsylvania. There's a shot between the points. Brian Marks can't reel it in through the legs of Peter Satala, and McWhinney holds up his left hand. That's going to be icing on the Whalers. Dan McWhinney playing in this second period, taking the place of Matt Kinsella. If you remember, before the second goal scored by the Whalers, was hobbled a bit, didn't get off his knees and on his body until a couple minutes. We hope Matt Kinsella's okay. Marks between the points, and Mike Brown sees it with ease. Lester Brown, far corner. Rivera kicks it on the other side. Hansen behind, swings it. Here is Lester Brown providing a hip check. Lester Brown has lost his black helmet, and Brett Liscombe comes up with the puck for Danburry. Swings around the stick of Peter Satala. Right now, Dongora on the race. Dongora with great speed, and that's going to be icing on the Demons as Dongora met with two Demons up front. Another icing penalty on the Whalers puts them back in front of Mike Brown. With 5:49 to go in our second period, Danburry holding on to their lead at 2-1. Dan Pashnichny and Len Pelche, your defenders out for the Demons. And out there in the face-off circle, near side is Ronsberg versus Liscombe. Poke towards the near corner. Kristaps Neimanis. He has the puck, swings it around the boards, and here is Mafu's far face-off circle, just out of the reach of Ronsberg, and the Demons do have to backtrack on this one. Schnitzny off the near glass. Liscombe sells it down in front of him. Liscombe shot, and McWhinney save. Dan McWhinney with the save, wearing the old number of Jeff Rose from last year. Right now, McWhinney, this is the last time it updated. McWhinney with 4 saves. Matt Kinsella finishes 10 saves on 12 shots in 20 minutes. McWhinney with his 5th save on the game. Patch leans in against Seth Ronsberg. Ronsberg hits it off his knee, and Pshnichny sings it around the boards for Ahmed Mahfouz. 5:25 to go in the second period. Dayton trails Danbury 2-1. Mahfouz, Pshnichny. Danbury's near face-off circle, but Schnitzny will U-turn. Ryan Patch inching closer and closer. He would like to score the first goal on Dan McWhinney this season in the Federal Hockey League. Had a great record, about 20-4 with the Outlaws when they were in New Jersey. Ronsberg sells it down. DeLong grinds into a slow crawl. Hicks kicks it behind him. Mahfouz open ice to work behind the goal line. Mahfouz goes the other way, trying to shake off Velasov. With 4:50 to go. Marks can't handle it in the slot, and here comes Patch. Patch now has to turn the corner against Marks. Marks, great defense. He'll head towards the near corner. Patch slams him in the back. Mahfouz strips him of the puck. Patch knocked down, and right now DeLong swings it the other way. Patch now slowly skating. He's picking up speed again. Now here's Rio Pell. Far face-off circle. Shot blocked by Pelche. Len Pelche's got it. Len Pelche around the bend, behind the cage, goes in the neutral zone. Seth Ronsberg kicks it forward. Ronsberg far point, swings it towards his right. Mahfouz awaits the arrival of the puck. Stan Velasov crashes into the party. Mahfouz trying to swing his body around. That's kicked back out. Far corner, Morin. Mahfouz behind the net of Mike Brown. Mahfouz looks at his options. 4 Whalers surround Mike Brown. Mahfouz looking for Rivera, and Rivera turns. Well, he should have kept it up in front. McWhinney says, I got it for you. And Alex Norman from North Olmsted, Ohio, he will lead it up for the Demons. Goes for Morin, far side, neutral zone. Lester Brown swept away. Zanella on the race, but Brian Marks will cut him off. Settled down on the logo by Velasov. 3:36 to go in the second period. Dayton trails 2-1. Shots on goal favor the Demons by 12 at 29-17. And here's Marks. Out of the reach of Brown. Rivera, right-hand side. He'll bounce it on the near corner. Mike Brown swings it behind him as Lester Brown on the race for it. One Whaler goes tumbling in the far corner. Nice check by Dan Morin. And right now, Centella and Norman, they cut the puck off from the Whalers. Morin shot off the glove of Mike Brown, and he is unable to reel it in as one Demon skates in. Mike Brown shakes it off. Lester Brown knocked down, and Mike Brown will now have a clamp on it as Lester Brown swirled around out of the near face-off circle. We'll have it to the left of Mike Brown with 3 minutes exactly left to go in our second period. Danbury leads 2-1, and your goals look like this for Danbury, all in the first period thus far. Ryan Patch, Brett Liscombe. Patch with his 20th, Liscombe with his 13th, and Mark Rivera for Dayton, the only one in this period with his 16th. All goals have been scoring from the left to the right, by the way. 3 goals allowed in the right net, which is patrolled by Mike Brown in this period. Now in the slot, Kuda with a tall body and Hicks. And here's Danbury looking to go on a breakaway. McWhinney sails it down, kicks it behind him for Peter Satala. Satala now looks at his options, goes into the neutral zone. He's got a Demon towards the right. He takes it himself, broken away by Zach Kuda, former Dasher and former battalion member, wearing number 33 for the Whalers. Set up by Rio Pell, and here comes Patch. It's a 4-on-2 for Demons right around the green, though. Here's Mahfouz now on a 2-on-2. Ronsberg breaks away, shoots it off of Mike Brown. That bounced off his face mask, but it will tumble in front of the goalie, and he will pounce on it for a save. 2-1 Danbury, your score. 2:19 to go in the second period. 31 shots now for the Demons. Mike Brown with 30 saves. And the duo of Demon goalies, Matt Kinsella in the first 20 minutes and Dan McWhinney in this period thus far, with a total of 16 saves on 18 shots. 2:19 to go in the second. Face off to the left. It is Rivera versus Liscombe. Liscombe for the Whalers. Rivera leans in. Liscombe has taken a good chunk of these face-offs, and the linesman says, I've seen enough of both of you. Get out, as Liscombe and Rivera will fight for another face-off another day. Lester Brown comes in. He wins it as Rivera halted by Vlasov. Here is Alex Norman. He cuts his way through, feeds it up front for a Demon. Out of the reach of Dan Martin, and Pashnichny has to turn on the jets, feeds it forward, and it's a takeaway. Zanella spins around by the linesman with 2 minutes to play in the second, and Dayton down by 1. 2-1 Whalers your score. Pashnichny with the yellow hockey gloves with a black stripe down the middle. As Rivera held up, he does get the puck free, and the Demons dump it over towards Mike Brown. Vlasov's going to be the first one there for the Whalers, as Lester Brown knocks it away in front of the referee. Lester Brown knocked down, and that's a clean play as Mark Rivera trying to bump shoulders with Zanella. Loose puck as Dan Morin off his left skate. 2 bodies collide in the far face-off circle. Now with 1:28 to go in the second. Whalers up by 1. Shot, power, high over the head of Dan McWhinney, and that will bounce off the protective net with 1:22 to go in the second period. 2-1 Danbury your score. Like I mentioned, David Lund is your coach tonight for Danbury behind the bench. Phil Esposito suspended tonight. Trevor Karaszewicz suspended for 2. He'll serve tonight and tomorrow against Steel City. 1:22 to go in the second. Face off to the right of Dan McWhinney. Ian DeLong versus Seth Ronsberg. Linesman says some space between you two on the north side of the logo. Peter Satala, he chomps out the puck, now rolls it forward. Hicks, he's shoved off the puck, but Satala comes in. Ronsberg tangled up with a Whaler. Loose puck, and Ian Riopel turns around. He has the baggage. Goes to Kuda. Kuda can't handle it. Kuda trying to slow it down. The Demons have it on the logo. Ronsberg takes a hip check, and we're in our final minute of the second period where the Demons have the only goal thus far. 2-1 Danbury, your score. Off the side of the net as McWhinney goes behind him for Captain Brian Marks. Marks holds on to it, lets it go for Hicks. Hicks back to Marks. For the lobby doors, Hicks back with the puck, neutral zone. Mahfouz to the right and Ronsberg to the left. Mahfouz near boards. His shot through the legs of Nemenis' skates, and they'll go back for Marks near point. 33 seconds now left in the second period. 2-1 Whalers. Ronsberg trying to get the puck. Mahfouz jams around. Patch with the clear. Hits off the corner sharply. Back for Satala. Far point. Bounces off Mike Brown towards the right. Ronsberg now 20 seconds. Mahfouz behind the goal line. Nemenis right behind him. Nemenis and Mahfouz have exchanged unpleasantries thus far as Mahfouz's pass caught off by Scott Morangel. 6 seconds left as the Whalers speed it up. Riopel's shot right at McWhinney, and Riopel hammered in the boards, and McWhinney will hold on for a stoppage of play. 1.1 seconds remain in the second. 2-1 Danbury, your score. Face off to the left as McWhinney talks to the referee. McWhinney shakes his head in his first game with the Dayton Demons. Mike Brown going back towards the Danbury bench. Looks like Danbury will be countering with a 6 attacker. Interesting strategy as that puck jammed between Mark Rivera's skates, and that's how we end the second period. 2-1 Danbury, your score. The Demons head first into the locker room as Dan McWhinney comes in relief in his 20 minutes of action. He will make 8 saves on 8 shots in his debut with Dayton. And at the end of 2, Danbury still holding on to the lead. 2-1 Whalers over the Demons. You're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching live on FHL Live and also on Dayton Access Television. As you're listening to the Gem City Sports Network, you're watching live on FHL Live and also Dayton Access Television. We have DATV, our local cable channel, bringing you 5 games on a tape delay. They brought the 21st game against Danville in November, Watertown's game on December 11th, this game, along with the next Danbury game, the last time we'll see the Whalers in the regular season here at Hara, on Friday, February 27th, and March the 6th against Danville. Always cool to have DATV. They're a good bunch of people, good organization, good channel to watch too. Like I mentioned, if you have Time Warner Cable, you can watch the replays. We'll get you the times in the third media timeout. It'll also be on YouTube as well. And I'll try to share that file for anyone interested in seeing what they do. They have a special pregame taping that I did for them. So hopefully that's something that folks from Dayton and Danbury would like to see. Demonz now heading back from the right to the left. Dan McWhinney back in his second period of work. And Mike Brown back in the net for the Whalers. He leans in. He has 30 saves on 31 shots. And the Demonz have 18 saves on 20 shots. 8 for 8 is McWhinney. Lee W. Mountain with a call for you. Your referee is Paul Jean. We haven't seen him back in a while here at Hara Arena. Tyler Iflin, your linesman. Chris Binkley, only here for 2 or 3 times this season. Iflin, a regular here at Hara Arena. As Paul Jean talks to Seth Ronsberg. Like I mentioned, 3 infractions thus far in the game, 2 on the Whalers, 1 on the Demonz. As we're about ready to start up action, it will be Ian DeLong taking this face off against Jared Hicks. Demonz from right to left, Whalers go back left to right. And in the first and third periods, you head away from your bench and your goalie, and you say hello to the opposition bench and the goalie as well. Demonz win the face-off 6 seconds in as Peter Satala picks it up. He's also sporting a Travelplex banner on the lower portion of his jersey. That's a new feature that the Demonz have this year, where the sponsors can adopt a player. Marks and Satala, both sponsored by Travelplex. Marks has it now. He looks from the far point, shoots it, and Mike Brown closes up like a clam. He will take in his 31st save on the day. And that is your first shot on goal in the third period. They're brought to you by Doors Galore, where they welcome you home. James McGrath, thanks for the sponsorship of Dayton Demonz Hockey. Also, Bones, the Demonz mascot, and on the broadcast of the Dayton Demonz Broadcast Network. First shots on goal. DeLong sweeps into Jared Hicks, and DeLong gets a little bit too close to the Dayton forward. Zanella looks to win this face-off, and Hicks has it. Goes for Marks near point. This puck bounces around towards the near corner as Ronsberg has his stick tangled up, and he kicks it forward against Scott Morangel. Ronsberg's shot high off of Mike Brown. Loose puck, it's Hicks. Hicks slows it down. Ronsberg between the points. His pass jammed up. Here comes Brett Liscombe and the Whalers company. That puck will be underneath Dan McWhinney, who thinks about moving it forward, but one Whaler high rapid speed towards the Dayton goalie. He will land on top of it at the last second for stoppage and play, and the face-off to the right of McWhinney. 2-1 Danbury, 19:13 to go in the third period. Shots on goal favor Dayton, 33-21. Face-off recovered by the green jersey Danbury Whalers as Morangel's shot goes wide to the left. As that puck bounces away, McWhinney unable to get it. And here goes Lester Brown. Lester Brown with 2 other Demons behind him. They'll tangle up the puck. That was going to be delayed offside. And here is the Whalers in the neutral zone. Riopel looking for someone up front. The Whalers skating with 12 total. That is 6 on the bench, 6 on the ice. The Demons 15 overall. 2 of those goalies. Shot, score! That's Alex Norman. Alex Norman with a snipe from the near boards, flings it past Mike Brown, and for the first time since we were scoreless in the first period, we are tied up. The Demons have tied it up with 18:40 to go in the third. Up at 2, Alex Norman with the goal. That's his first point as a Dayton Demon this season, back in his second year of action here at Hara Arena with the Demons. 1:20 gone from the third. DeLong versus Hicks, and the Demons have won it. Alex Norman with the goal. That's his first point on the season as his pass goes behind the back of Ahmed Mahfouz as Kuda will take it away from Mike Brown's stick. Meanwhile, Ronsberg tries to tangle up DeLong with another Demon, Jared Hicks, and the Whalers go for a dump around the far corner. DeLong leans in as we'll have a couple bodies. Check it, near point. Kuda deflected off the stick of Zanella. Zanella gets the puck back in the near corner, tied up at 2. Here's Kuda, near point, score! Kuda gets the deflection in. He will most likely get credit with the assist, but for Zach Kuda, in his second game with the Kelly Green, that's his first point. As Danbury has taken the lead one more time, 3-2, with 18:05 to go in the third. 3-2 Danbury. Zach Kuda with the deflection. Not sure if that is a goal or assist, but you can definitely count he's getting a point. That's his first with Danbury, and the Whalers take another lead at 3-2. That's their first goal since late in the first period. They're getting Brett Liscombe with his second goal tonight. That's his 14th, and back the other way, here's Rivera. He takes it himself off the left shoulder of Mike Brown, and we'll have Lassoff and Mike Brown collide on the right post. It's dislodged, and we'll have to fix it. 17:50 to go in the third. Danbury storms back on top, 3-2. Very shortly after Alex Norman snipes one past Mike Brown. The shots on goal favor Dayton 35-22. As joining me in the press row are our two photographers, Josie Colwell and Philip Wright. They do terrific jobs with their cameras. Always cool to see photos of the game. There's a shot. It'll bounce in front of Mike Brown's pads, and he will make a recording with a stop. 36-22, your shots on goal favor Dayton. 17:42 to go in the third. 3-2 Whalers, your score. And I saw on the FHL fans page, I saw that Whalers were wondering who wasn't on the roster today. We'll get to that as Rivera waits for his opponent. I will tell you that there's 5 defenders for the Whalers, including Kristaps Neimanis, Zach Kuda, Scott Morangels, Dan Velasov, and Ian Riopel. We'll get to the forwards as Zanella on the rush looking to build on this lead. Zanella can't hold on to it. It clanks the post, and the rebound by Liscombe looking for the Hattie. It goes wide right. McWhinney gave up his first goal as a Dayton Demon as he tries to shake it off. And we'll have a Dayton penalty. Len Pelche skating towards the sin bin, and the Whalers will go back on a power play. It's a slash on Pelche, and the Whalers will have their second power play of the night. The first time Danbury had a 5-on-4, the Demons did an exceptional job with their penalty kill unit, just pushing the puck away from the Whalers. 17:29 to go in the third. 3-2 Danbury, your score. Brett Liscombe with his second tonight, his 14th on the season. And Kuda will get his first point with the Whalers on an assist. Zanella gets his second assist tonight. That gives him 12. And for Dayton, Alex Norman assisted from Mark Rivera and Dan Pschnitzny. Pschnitzny's hit double digits in points. That's his 10th assist. And for Rivera, he's got 2 points. That's his 12th. Slashing on Len Pelche as Brian Marks rips the puck away, hits it off the far boards, and Kristaps Neimanis will take it behind the cage of Mike Brown. Shots on goal favor Dayton by 14, 36-22, 2-3. That is what the scoreboard reads. Dayton to the left, Danbury to the right. Whalers have a 1-goal lead. Just about 3 minutes into our third, the Whalers go back on their second power play of the night. That pass gets away from Zanella, but Scott Morangel between the pipes pulls it back into the neutral zone. Zanella's right in front. Morangel keeps it as Mahfouz is right on his tail. Morangel, he spent some time in France this season. His shot blocked off the stick of Alex Norman. The puck will bounce behind the net, pulled up by Liscombe. Liscombe looking for a Hattie, and not getting the hat trick there. Liscombe, Mahfouz right in his face. 1:05 now left in the Danbury power play. A slash on Pelche. 3-2 Whalers, 16.5 to go. Right to Marks in the slot. He'll feed it for Mahfouz. Here's a 3-on-2 shorthander attempt. Mahfouz pulls the trigger, swings it high and wide right. Hicks tries to turn around. It's going to be Liscombe picking up in the neutral zone. It's a 2-on-1. Hicks hurries. It's now 2-on-2. And Marks comes in, pries it away. Here comes a 3-on-2 again for the Demons shorthanded. Marks takes an S-turn, now on the near side. Puck popped up. Mahfouz will head it towards the goal line. Around the right corner, and the Whalers steal it away from the Foos. 29 seconds left on the power play for the Whalers. Pulling up a quick shot, and McWhinney, what a stretch! Dan McWhinney literally just stretched his limbs out as far as they can go with all that gear, and he will take it away from Kristaps Niemanus. That looked like that was a sure thing power play goal for Niemanus, which would have been his 5th. But McWhinney says, look how far I can stretch. So McWhinney with the save. He's allowed 1 goal tonight. Mackinsella, he only played 1 period. 3-2 Danbury, 15:52 to go in the third. Face off far circle. And now here is Mark Rivera, 1-on-1. 3 Whalers on his tail. Rivera's shot saved by Mike Brown. Loose puck, Rivera can't handle it. And a sea of green now take it. That is Robert Dongora. Meanwhile, Mark Rivera swings at far corner. Mike Brown checks it. Danbury, they did a better job this time of the power play. Just 2 seconds left, and Len Pelche will come out of the box, and we have whistles as Pelche looks at the clock, and he is allowed to come out as Ronsberg circles his goalie net. Paul Jean and I believe that's Tyler Iflin talking it over. The 2 stripes. Gene, the referee, he's talking to Dan Schnitzny and Brett Liscomb. Liscomb wearing the C. David Lund is behind the bench. We'll go back to the Whalers roster. I mentioned the 5 defenders, Ankuda, Niemanus, Vlasov, Morangel, and Riopel. The forwards for the Whalers are Brett Liscomb, the C, the captain, Ian DeLong, Mike Zanella, that's your starting 3, and Rob Dongor and Ryan Patch. And the 12th player for Danbury on their bench, Mike Peerless, who took the loss last night. As we hear a mountain of boos as Ahmed Mahfouz looks to talk to Paul Jean and says, hey, a face-off to the left of Mike Brown. Leaning in, face-off off the stick of Ronsberg, recovered by the green jersey Danbury Whalers. That's green jerseys, white letters and numbers, black trim, turnover. Here's Hicks. Demons in the white jerseys, black letters and numbers, red trim. Ronsberg sweeps around the near face-off circle. Ronsberg kicks it back behind him. Here's Hicks. Hicks now off his stick. Hicks pushed away. He still maintains the puck after 2 Whalers collide into him. Hicks towards his left. Ronsberg flicks it back near point. Pelche. Far point for Schnitzny. Blocked by Dongara. And Dongara loops it into the neutral zone off the hand of Besnichny, and he will race for it. Like I mentioned, Dan Besnichny, former head coach of the Berkeley Bruins of the NWJHL. That team folded in November, and since he's become a Dayton Demon. Mahfouz kicks it behind him. Rivera on the chase. It's out of the neutral zone. Danbury looking to attack once more. 3-2 Whalers your score. As Demons tied it up, Whalers quickly reclaimed the lead with the goal from Brett Liscomb, his 2nd. Puck goes around. Riopel near side. Takes it past the red line, sweeps it on the near corner. McWhinney slows it down, and Riopel goes for a change. Brian Marks takes a deep breath with 14 1/4 to go in the third. 3-2, Danbury your score. The 6th time that the Whalers and Demons have met this season, the 3rd here at Hara Arena. There's Lester Brown. Lester Brown towards the left, frees it away. And now Mark Rivera sells it down. Past 1 Whaler. Here's Lester Brown breakaway, and Lester Brown can't hold on to it. The 2 defenders, Peter Satella and Brian Marks, they're racing back towards the goal line. Marks has it, 13:49 to go in the third. Marks up front. Rivera's got a chase with Zach Kuda. Kuda with some good size on him, 6'2", 197. But the puck belongs to Dan Morin. He'll trek the corners. Marks' shot goes wide right. Just out of the reach of Satala. This is heading into the neutral zone, and it will not reach the boards. Dan Morin's got to play it. 2 other Demons join him. Rivera boxes off a Whaler, loose puck. Rivera comes together with Lester Brown. Here's Zanella. Zanella dumps it off towards McWhinney, and Zanella goes back to the Danbury bench. David Lund leading the charge for the Whalers. Phil Esposito serving a suspension today. Trevor Karazowicz not behind the bench either. This is his first of 2 games he's got to serve for Saturday's games. Loose puck taken away. Here's Jared Hicks. Hicks sweeps away from Ryan Patch. Loose puck, and here's Marks. He misplays it, goes towards the bench. Sailed down by Lester Brown before he heads back to Coach Collins' bench. Picked up by Scott Morangel. 10 games for the Whalers, now make it 11 counting tonight. 37-23 shots on goal. They favor the Demons, and Morangel takes his time, swings it for Patch, and now Riopel back on the ice. He takes it out of the neutral zone, takes a hip check, still has the puck. Riopel swings it parallel of McWhinney, and Hicks swings it back in the neutral zone. Whalers on the press here. Morangel high, McWhinney stands up and bounces away with his right shoulder. Ronsberg, Mahfouz towards his left, now behind him. Ronsberg shot off of Mike Brown, and Mike Brown thought he had that puck. It bounced high over his head. Demons go back to work, and Mike Brown will catch a zipper of a one-timer from the far point, and Jared Hicks. Hicks with a one-timer. Mike Brown comes up with a save. Mike Brown now with 37 saves on 39 shots. 12:08 to go in the third. 3-2 Danbury your score. Face off to the left of Mike Brown. DeLong leans in. Look to back off. A Demon, that is Ronsberg, and the Whalers take it from the face-off circle. Demonz reverses course, heads towards Coach Lons's bench. That will be deflected. It's no icing, and Pashnichny does have to play it. Behind the back is Zanella. The Demons do keep it away from him as Ronsberg slows it down. Ronsberg speeds it up, looking for Mahfouz. Mahfouz around the corners. That's deflected. No icing on Dayton, and Kuda comes up within the Dayton near corner. Here's Alex Norman. He tied the game up with his first goal of the season. Mahfouz now looking towards the left, and Jared Hicks stood up. He can't get there in time as Liscombe behind the red line slowly dumps it. It won't reach the boards as Pelche plays it for Sintala. One Whaler knocked down, and we're going to have Paul Jean point at the down Whaler in front of Dan McWhinney. That's Ian DeLong, who is holding his right wrist close to his chest. And that's going to be slashing on Len Pelche. And that's going to be a penalty on Danbury, too. So Pelche's in the box. It looks like DeLong, he is slow to get up. He's on his knees. He's up. The trainer's looking at him. And the trainer's looking good and hard on that right hand. That's one thing the Whalers don't need. They're still a dangerous team. You can leave them with 6 players to play. Granted, those 6 players will be tired, but still a lot of quality on both these rosters. Pelche in the box. DeLong getting checked out by the trainer. The linesman looks over the shoulder of DeLong. Looks like DeLong makes his way to the box. Ryan Patch and Brett Liscombe, they want explanations. So does Ahmed Mahfouz. So right now it looks like it's just coincidental penalties. DeLong trying to shake off that right hand. DeLong shakes his hand. The Demons fans sitting behind the penalty box, they will clap along. As Gene holds up both hands, shakes him with his whistle in his left, and it will stay 5-on-5 hockey. Coincidental minors on Pelche and DeLong. And it looks like the face-off might be in the neutral zone. Demons looking to improve to 12-5-2 at home, but they got to jump over the 1-goal deficit thus far. The Danbury Whalers lead 3-2. With 11:24 to go in the third. Whalers looking to stay perfect in Ohio. They're 3-0 thus far before they head north on I-75 to Port Huron, Michigan for the lone neutral site game this season for the Federal Hockey League. They'll take on the Danville Dashers in a battle of Whalers and Dashers, and teams. Let's start with Dan. Dan Moore talks to one of the linesmen. 5 on the ice for the Whalers is Zanella, right by the near boards in section 26. Scott Morangel and Stan Vlasov on the red line. Ryan Patch, your centerman, and that is Brett Liscombe to the left. And for the Demons, Dan Morin, Mark Rivera, Peter Satala, Brian Marks, and I believe that's Lester Brown. That's your 5 on both teams. Neutral zone drop near side. Furthest away from the referee crease. The Demons have won it. Unsportsmanlike on DeLong is your score. As Rivera trying to jam it in. It's right in front of Mike Brown. He can't reel it home as Lester Brown uses his body, and Satala just angles it wide to the right. Meanwhile, the Demons still have it off the stick of Morin. Stays in play by the lobby doors. Morin now near face-off circle. Behind him, down the hands of Rivera. Rivera takes this the other way, kicks it back. Here's Marks, far face-off circle. Marks in traffic, and the puck just cut off from the former battalion member, Lester Brown. Marks, far point, off the back of Rivera. Broken stick, Liscombe. Bad luck for Liscombe as Morangel is right there too. The Whalers will take it into the neutral zone. Here's Patch. He's got Marks in front. Patch swings it away, and McWhinney says, I'll kick this to the right. Meanwhile, that puck goes near side. Danbury still on the attack as Brian Marks up front, and Lester Brown slows it down red line. Lester Brown now picked up by Ryan Patch of the Whalers. Out of the reach of Rio Pell, and Peter Satala will keep it in front of the former battalion member and also former Watertown Wolf. 10-12 to go in the third. Dayton trails 3-2. Alex Norman tangles up with a Whaler as Mahfouz cuts in front of Neiman and says, may I have this puck? He tries to find Hicks in the slot, and it goes awry in the neutral zone. Alex Norman takes a high-speed puck, swings it towards the left, and we will have it tangled up. Ronsberg, far point. Behind him is Mahfouz. Mahfouz, far face-off circle. He can't hold it. Pashnichny, now far point, pulls it in front of the Whalers bench. Goes around far corner, slowed down by number 6 and Kristaps Neimanis. And he looks for Kuda up front. 9:39 to go in the third period. Danbury 3, Dayton 2. Alex Norman to tie it, and 35 seconds later, Liscombe for another Whalers lead. Whalers have had the lead since the middle of the first period as Hicks, blue line, now Ronsberg back to Hicks near point. Hicks fires one. This will bounce off the belly of Mike Brown. Stops at the far point for Dan Pashnichny. Stops it off his skates. An incoming Whaler, Rob Dongar. Now here's Norman looking for another one. That hits off a body in front of Brown. That's Mike Brown of the Whalers in net. Alex Norman will clank this off a couple knees of the Whalers, and Danbury looks to zip it away. This hits off the cage of Dan McWhinney, and it's icing on Danbury. 9 minutes to go in the third. Dayton trails Danbury 3-2, and we'll have a swapping of 5 for the Demons. Brian Marks, the last one off the bench. Up front will be Rivera, Hansen, Michael Hansen, Dan Morin, and Peter Satala. For the Whalers, looking for this face-off is Mike Zanella. Face-off jammed in the near face-off circle. Marks, near point. He's got to turn around for it. As Liscombe waves towards the bench, Marks has it. Goes for Rivera in the logo. Rivera dumps it off. Right now it's a chase, and it's Vlasov hitting off the near boards. Out of the reach, and here's Peter Satala. 8:40 to go in the third period. Dayton trails Danbury 3-2 here at Hara Arena. Lee W. Mile with the call. So you're listening to the Gem City Sports Network. You're watching FHL live by Point Streak and Dayton Access Television. When it's aired, we'll get you the schedule at the next media timeout. Shot by Rivera, loops over the glove of Mike Brown. Picked up by Dayton though. Far point, here's Marks. Marks sands it in off the stomach of a Whaler. That was Morangel. Morin now. He's got far corner. Dan Morin for the Demons. Back for Marks. Marks has a little tough time settling down, and Danbury takes a loose puck away. Zanella on a 2-on-2. It's a 3-on-2 now as the Whalers will lose it by the red line. Morangel sweeps it to Morin of the Demons, and here's Satala. Satala far side. Takes a slow grinding check towards the left. Morin and Satala hold up. Delayed penalty on the way, and Hansen touches it up. It's on Danbury. It's going to be on Danbury. Hansen had a touch on it. Patch tries to lean his stick in, and it's interference, the call. Hansen had a touch on it, and it will be a Danbury interference call, the second interference call on the green jersey Whalers tonight. And for the third time, the Demons will be going on the power play. Liscombe has to listen to what the referee says, and Zach Kuda will be going to the box. His first penalty as a Danbury Whaler, and just 8 minutes for him on the season with the former two teams. 7:44 to go in the third. Danbury Whalers 3, Dayton Demons 2. Demons in second place, 75 points. Whalers in third, looking to snap a long losing streak. looking to break a 2-game losing streak to the Demons. Interference to call on Kuda as Brian Marks picks it up on the clear. The Whalers start off the penalty kill off the right foot as here's Hicks. Past all 3 lines, zips it around. Mike Brown slows it down, and that will bounce off the chest of Seth Ronsberg, who was shaking his right fist. And Dan Schnitzny thought he slowed it down, but it will trickle away from him. Patch, the only Whaler, chasing it back. Liscombe and Vlasov and Neimanis way in the neutral zone. Dayton goes back to work. 2 clears for the Whalers, 1:25 to go on the 5-on-4 for the Demons. Mafu's side swipe knocked down, clean play. And here's Vlasov, another good clear. And this will loop past the red line. McWhinney will take action. Alvis Crease sets it up for Dan Schnitzny. Up front, Mafu's behind him. Here's Ronsberg near side. Ronsberg around the corners. Mike Brown can't slow that one down. Mafu's chipped up, almost into the Danbury bench. And looping it forward was Brett Liscombe. Here's Ronsberg now, near face-off circle. Hicks takes a dive. That puck was behind his back as he flies in the air with 48 seconds to go on the 5-on-4 for Dayton. Now here's Ronsberg. A Demon slides. Ronsberg can't hold on to the puck. Picked up far corner. That is in the hands of Scott Morangel. Tangled up. Here's Hicks. Great job by Hicks. And Mafus hits the post. He hits both posts on that shot. Sintala now 30 seconds on the power play, and Danbury will clear back into the neutral zone. Sintala will sweep Sinella far enough away. This could be the final chance of the power play for Dayton. 20 seconds left. 6:02 to go in the third. Danbury leads 3-2. Sintala gets slapped in the back, finds Ronsberg, and Mafus races for it. Mafus now, and it will be sent back. Ronsberg heads back to the bench, and the penalty is almost over. Have a whistle as Paul Jean comes in. 2 seconds left on the interference. Mark Rivera has a word with Paul Jean, and Dayton will be going on the penalty kill in 2 seconds. So right now we have 4-on-4 very briefly, and when Kuda goes back out, it's 5-on-4 Danbury. 5:45 to go in the third. Danbury 3, Dayton 2. Face off to the right of Dan McWhinney. And who will be serving this penalty? It looks like it is Lester Brown. So Kuda leans over the wall. He's ready to come back out. And it looks like that's going to be Lobato serving it instead of Lester Brown. McWhinney back in his crease for the Demons. 5:45 to go in the third. The Whalers with a 3-2 advantage. Shots on goal, 41-24. Dayton. It is Mark Rivera versus Ryan Patch for this face-off. 4-on-4 for 2 seconds. As it looks like Hicks will come out as the 4th Demon. Patch versus Rivera. Patch gets the tip on it, and Danbury starts just their 2nd penalty or power play on the night. It's too many Demons on one sheet of ice, and the Whalers go back on a power play. Demons get a good clear on that. Here comes Neimanis into the neutral zone. Finds Liscombe towards the left. 20 seconds in. Liscombe in front of the Demons bench. Shoots it. McWhinney comes up with a save. Right at the stomach of McWhinney. Dan McWhinney, he'll hold on. As this is his 2nd stint in the Federal Hockey League. Like I mentioned previously, he played with head coach Trevor Karaszewicz in the New Jersey Outlaws championship team. They took down the Danbury Whalers before Danbury got their first cup against Dayton in a 3-0 sweep. And then Dayton won the cup last year against the Danbury Whalers. As Dayton gets a nice clear, Mike Brown slows it down for Morangel, and it's jammed up on Morangel's skates, and Mafus will strip the puck away. Mafus looking for Hicks, and Hicks will not be able to calculate that bounce on Neimanis' skates. Meanwhile, here's DeLong. He skates silky smooth back for Morangel, near point. 1:10 now left to go in the 5-on-4 for Danbury. 4:53 to go in the third. Whalers play it. Liscombe towards his right. Behind the back of a referee. Patch. Patch now jams it forward. We'll have Hicks take a fall. He's quickly back up as Morangel plays it on the logo. Neimanis back for Morangel. 52 seconds and ticking now left in the 5-on-4 for Danbury. Near side, Satella can't get there. Here's Liscombe. Liscombe looking for a hat trick, and DeLong sliding in. It is jammed away at the head of his stick. DeLong will have another try. Far face-off circle, dips it over for Liscombe. Back for DeLong, and Morangel will take that awry pass and keep it in Whalers play. 26 seconds now left on the 5-on-4 for Danbury. That puck out of the reach of Patch. Patch swings it, and Dan McWhinney knocked down. He's got the puck. McWhinney collided with another Whaler as the referee blows his whistles with 17 seconds to go on the Whalers 5-on-4, 4:02 to go in the third, and Danbury up 3-2. That was DeLong and McWhinney. McWhinney is able to get back up. He's on all fours. Now back up he goes. He's in front of Matt Kinsella, who was shooken up in the first period. He's replaced in the start of the second. Still 17 seconds left on the Whalers power play. 4:02 to go in the third. Actually, the Whalers' third power play on the night. I beg your pardon. I got that wrong earlier. Spashnichny now finds Pelche. Off the glass, Morangel can't sell it down. And here is Mark Rivera. Morangel does get it at the referee crease, and he moves it forward for Ian Riopel. 2 seconds, 1 second, Riopel kicks it back. Here is Dongara. Power play over. Lobato back to the Demons bench, and for Mark Rivera. Whalers still control the puck with 3:36 now left in the third. 3-2 Danbury your score. Lester Brown comes up with the puck and leaves it forward in the hands of Rivera. Rivera on a 2-on-2. Puck breaks away. Lester Brown playing cleanup. His stick knocked away, and Zach Kuda's got to retreat back to his left corner as he takes a bump from Ronsberg. Satala now with the puck, sweeps it back for Ronsberg. Rivera's going to play it in the slot. Lester Brown tangled up. Zanella knocked down, shot off, and it is Mike Brown with a save against Seth Ronsberg. Mike Brown, a nice save. Ronsberg comes up with a nice deflection. Mike Brown saw that puck all along. And it looks like that will take us to our media timeout late in the third. 3:08 to go in the third. Danbury 3, Dayton 2. Shots on goal favor the Demons 42-25. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our third media timeout. Let's go back and tell you the air dates of this game on DATV. If you don't have Time Warner Cable or not in the Dayton area, you can go to DATV.org during these times too. They're Eastern times. Or you can wait until DATV archives it on YouTube. They've done a nice job thus far. I recommend, if you just like hockey, go back to the game they did for Dayton versus Watertown. All HD cameras, and they had their own scorebook. It is crisp, it is sharp, it's awesome. Now let's tell you about the air dates of tonight's game. It'll be Monday, February the 2nd at 8, Wednesday the 4th at 1:30, and Saturday, February 7th at 5. And also it'll be broadcasted various times on Miami Valley Communications Channel in Miamisburg, Oakwood, Kettering, West Carrollton, Germantown, Centerville, Springboro, and Moraine. And DATV can be seen on Channel 5 in the city of Dayton, Riverside and Butler Township, 6th and Huber Heights, Vandalia, Inglewood, Trotwood, Union, Harrison Township, Fairborn, Xenia, Cedarville, Jamestown, and on weekends, Springfield and New Carlisle. There's a shot deflected in traffic from Marks. Loose puck, however, Mafus goes to Marks. Marks shot, and it is Mike Brown. The lights went off. I think that hit the stomach of Mike Brown, as we'll have a tangling of green and white jerseys and 2 stripes with a job of free 'em all. Mafu swings his left hand over his left shoulder, says, come on. The line judge, I believe both lights went off. I thought Mike Brown had it. 3 minutes left exactly in the third, 3-2. Danbury your score. Like I mentioned, if you're from Danbury, you want to watch this game, go to those times, DATV.org, or wait for it on YouTube. You can watch it anytime. For you Daytonians with Time Warner Cable in those areas. Also, if I didn't list a town you live in, check your local listings, because I found it in West Alexandria in Preble County, not too close to Hara Arena, about 25 miles or so. Face-off recovered by the Whalers, and Liscombe clears it away, and Peter Satala gets there first. Satala takes it, looks towards the right, 3-2 Whalers. We're in the closing minutes of regulation. Hicks, Ronsberg towards the left, shot blocked away from the hands of Zach Kuda. Picked back up by Hicks. He takes it near point, swings it for Marks. Marks from the bench, swings it wide right to Mike Brown. Meanwhile, Hicks looking to slow things down. Satala, the near point, bounces around, and Ryan Patch is going to get there first in the far face-off circle. He'll rainbow this towards Dan McWhinney, and that's going to be icing on the Whalers. Icing on the Whalers puts them back in front of Mike Brown. 2:17 to go in the third. 3-2 Danbury your score. The Whalers skating with 10 players, 2 goalies. That's 12 total. Demons 15 total, 13 skaters on the ice. As for the Demons, Taguna and Patriziak on suspensions. Also see Cody Milligan not on the roster as of right now, as DeLong heads back towards the bench, and Paul Jean will blow his whistle as he flicks his right fist off his left arm. And to the cheers of the Demons, that's going to be a Danbury power play. That's going to be a Dayton power play, Danbury penalty kill. Ian DeLong didn't get off the ice in time, and the Demons will have a power play for the next 2 minutes with 2:17 left. We might see Coach Collins roll the dice here. Paul McWhinney for a 6 attacker to have a 6-on-4. But remember, in the previous home losses to Danbury here at Hara, the Whalers have scored an empty net goal in 2 games. Mackinsell was in between the pipes in those games, took the losses against the Whalers, and we'll have a timeout as Paul Jean points towards the right. Looks like Coach Collins will be making some strategy. He'll take his whiteboard, set up a play as Coach David Lunn, taking the place of Phil Esposito tonight. He'll talk to his Whalers bench, who played exceptionally well. Like I mentioned, 10 skaters. You got to think 5 on the ice and just 1 to swap them in and out, so you can think fatigue, a bit of a concern for Coach Lund. Former Danville Dashers, and then last season signed with the Danbury Whalers, became the 11th captain of the Whalers last season. So he has a big smile on his face. He's liked what he saw from his Whalers. The face-off will be to the left of Mike Brown as Coach Collins discussing options with his team. Right now, Ronsberg, Mahfouz, and looks like that's Morin on the ice. No, that's Peter Satala. Demons are going on the power play. Danbury for just 1 extra Whaler on 1 sheet of ice. They had 6, and Paul Jean caught him. 3-2 Danbury, your score. 2:17 left in the third period here at Hara Arena. Of any of the games of the series, none of them have failed to draw less than 2,000. Power play for the Demons. Mahfouz has won it. Sintala back for Mahfouz, far face-off circle. Sintala between the points. Here's Mahfouz, wings it off the knee of Mike Brown. He had traffic in front of him with Seth Ronsberg in his way. Hicks back for Mahfouz. Mahfouz kicks it off his right skate. 2 minutes to play in the third. Whalers up by 1. Sintala off Zanella. Schnitzny fires it in. Mike Brown with Ronsberg in his face still managed to see the puck, and he takes it up for a save. Whalers being outshot by the Demons 45-25. 1:52 to go in the third. 3-2 Whalers your score on this Friday evening. Don't forget, Demons fans, we'll have a game for you tomorrow here. 7:15 pregame, 7:35 puck drop. Demons versus the Whalers on First Responders Night. And Danbury fans, make sure you watch your team on FHL Live on Point Streak. From Port Huron, Michigan, they'll take on the Danville Dashers. Lee Tommy Pecoraro will definitely be there. He travels with the team. And I'm not sure about Easton Hoskins, the voice of the Dashers. Be cool to see those two team up as that shot flicks off the net from Seth Ronsberg. Near point, Pszczniczny. Shot by Centella. Bounces wide right. 106 left. Liscombe jammed up on the clear, but he gets it towards the far corner. Patch looking, and he will skate away. 1:15 to go in the third. McWhinney still on the ice. He's looking towards his bench, Coach Collins, and I think once the Demons move towards their attacking zone, McWhinney, he's starting to skate out right now as Mahfouz hurries around. 45 seconds now left on the 5-on-4. Mike Brown lands on top of the puck. McWhinney is off, and the sixth attacker is Lester Brown. It's a 6-on-4 for the next 44 seconds. 1:01 to go in the third. 3-2 Danbury as Brian Marks, along with Mark Rivera in front, Lester Brown, Jared Hicks, Ahmed Mahfouz, and the Whalers are putting Brent Liscombe in the box. So it's a 6-on-3 for 44 seconds with 1:01 to go in the third, and the Whalers up 3-2. Hooking the call on Liscombe, and the Whalers, they have their biggest stop in front of them. As McWhinney back on the ice, the Demons will try their luck on a 5-on-3 instead. McWhinney is very close towards his bench. And Paul Jean heads back towards the penalty box. Tyler Iflin looks to long points with his right hand back towards the bench. Looks like it's just it is 5-on-3. McWhinney has returned, but don't be surprised to see McWhinney go back to the bench for a sixth attacker. Hicks leans in. His opponent will be Mike Zanella. Mahfouz talking to a linesman. It's a calm discussion. I think they're making sure. I now see 5 Demons on the ice. I was looking in front of section 22. Didn't see Mark Rivera on the boards. As David Lund will whistle back a couple of his Whalers, and they'll skate by him. Face off to the right of Mike Brown. It's a 5-on-3 for 44 seconds. McWhinney away from his crease. He's closer towards his net. And it looks like that's going to signal a timeout for Danbury. And now Brett Liscombe and Ian DeLong are pointing towards the right side of things. I'm not sure what it could be. So right now, just to recap everything in perspective, Dayton tied it up on an Alex Norman goal, but 35 seconds later, Danbury reclaimed the lead. Brett Liscombe with his second. And right now, with 1:01 to go in the third, the Demons have 44 seconds on a 5-on-3. It could easily be a 6-on-3. As I'm looking at the referee and linesmen, with all the arrow pointing that they're doing, kind of looks like they're doing a dance. So right now we're waiting on the puck to fall. Right now it's 5-on-3, Dayton, 44 seconds. The Demons out shooting the Whalers 46-25. I'm not sure what they're pointing at currently, as we have a stoppage in play. Like we mentioned, Steel City Warriors in town tomorrow, First Responders Night. Hope you join us for that here on GemCitySports.com, Radio 2, and FHL Live, presented to you by Point Streak. Jared Hicks goes in front of section 28, and he gets some of the fans to shake the glass in front of him, and he slaps the stick on the glass to pump up the Demons faithful. McWhinney is back out on the ice. He's in the far face-off circle. Right now, he's a little bit closer to his net than he is to the bench. So a face-off awaits us to the right of Mike Brown. There's one Whaler waiting, and Jared Hicks is there now for the Demons. That's Mike Zanella. He wants to take this face-off. as Brett Liscombe now pointing towards his left. Liscombe rubbing his left index finger and his thumb. And coming over to hear what he's got to say is Scott Morangel. Morangel slaps Liscombe's chest and a understanding meeting. Face-off will be to the right of Mike Brown. Shots on goal, 46-25. Dayton. 1:01 to go in the third. Dayton trails Danbury 3-2. Right now it's 5-on-3. But Dan McWhinney, he's got his eyes set on the bench. Mike Brown slams his hands up and down in the air. I think he's saying let's play as Tyler Iflin picks up something from the ice. The fans in section 22, once the rowdiest section in Hara Arena, they're starting to chant, "Let's go Demons," as most of the fans stand up. We see some of the fans in the military appreciation kit as Hicks. Now Centella's shot. Nice job by Mike Brown. Jumps on top of it in our final minute of the third. That burns 5 seconds off the 5-on-3. McWhinney right in front of his bench. He's going to stay out there on the ice. Now face off to the left of Mike Brown. Mike Brown, the veteran, knows what he's doing. Playing his 100th game with the Whalers. McWhinney off and the sixth attacker on. Marks, shot off of Mike Brown. The Whalers have it. Here's Vlasov near corner trying to clear it. Here is Marks. 6-on-3 for the next 26 seconds. Rivera jammed up. Vlasov, good stick handling. Marks now Hicks. Hicks up off the ice. Centella back for Marks. Hicks, far face-off circle. Shot off of Mike Brown. Mafu's loose puck. 14 seconds on a 6-on-3. And the ref will blow his whistle. Mike Brown knocked down. He knocks the cage loose on the fall down off his back. As referee Paul Jean holds up his left hand. Looks like he's saying Vlasov can't go back on the bench. He's back out on the ice. He looks a little hobbled. He's skating okay, but he was a little tired on the bench. 13 seconds left on the 6-on-5. McWhinney has not returned, but this puck heading into the neutral zone. It looks like the 6-on-3 is nothing more but a mere memory as Mafu's now farboards. One Whaler up front. Here's Hicks on a 2-on-2. Puck jammed up and it hits the bench of Danbury. And that'll stop the clock. 17.5 seconds to go in the third. There's a minute 17 on the Liscombe hook. 3-2 Whalers. It's now 6-on-4 for what could be the rest of the third. The Demons just need to attack Mike Brown. They need to attack his crease as Ronsberg tangled up. And it's DeLong. DeLong gets it cleared high and out of play. And we'll have another face-off. 13.9 to go in the third. Danbury looking for their third win out of 3 games here at Hara Arena. The series record on the season, 3-1-1 Danbury, 1 loss, a 6-2 Demons win, and a shootout loss to the Demons. Whalers lost their last 2 shootouts, 1 to Watertown, 1 to Dayton. Chip by Centella, 10 seconds left. Mike Brown jumps on the loose puck, still a 6-on-4. Liscombe yelling from his box, trying to help out his team from the penalty box. 7.8 seconds left. Whalers can smell the taste of victory, but they need to hold off a 6-on-4. Hicks jams it up, and that puck zips around out of the reach of Centella, and that will do it. Your final score tonight, the Danbury Whalers 3 and the Dayton Demons 2. The Demons lose tonight. They fall to 11-6-2 at home, and Danbury will improve to 11-5-3 on the road. Coach Lund does it with only 10 skaters, 2 goalies, and they will beat the Dayton Demons at home for the 3rd time in a row. Demons hold their sticks up. They salute the fans like they always do. These Demons love their fans. These fans love their Demons. As the Danbury Whalers, the game-winning goal to Brett Liscombe. He has 2 tonight. The Whalers improved to 24-12-4 on this season. Dayton falls to 25-11-3.